Salutations!
Welcome to the Film Mages Podcast, where the popcorn is our ammunition, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is our place of worship.
Now let me see your war face! Ah!
Zach,
That's me.
Alexis,
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year!
Oh my God, it's 2023.
We did it. We made it. We all made it to the new year.
We did.
Every single one of us.
Folks at home or in the car or at work, I hope you had a fantastic holiday season. And I hope you had a fantastic New Year's. I think we all did, right? Did we all have a great season?
Yeah, you know what? I brought in the new year soberly, and I regret nothing because I woke up the next day perfectly fine, able to eat and watch movies the entire day.
Wonderful.
That's right.
I loved it.
I'm starting the new year soberly, so we'll see how it goes.
I too am starting it soberly.
You know, of the 2 months where people don't drink,
Yeah.
sober October's never happening for me.
Because it's your birthday month and Halloween.
My two favorite things.
Yeah.
Really my one. I could take or leave my birthday. But
I feel you on that sometimes.
yeah. Time marches irrevocably on.
Indeed it does.
Hello, everyone. We're the Film Majors.
Hi, folks. Oh
I'm
my God, that
Zack.
was loud.
I'm Alexis.
I'm Mick.
And, we're ringing in the new year.
Hey.
And you know what I've been wondering about this new year for you guys? I've been wondering what's going on.
Of course
There it
you are.
is. Oh, fantastic.
I honestly have been wondering what's going on, because we haven't sat down and actually, recorded in the same space for probably close to a month.
Close to, it's almost, roughly 3 weeks since we've all been here together. It's nice to have the gang back together again. What's going on? I have just been watching so many movies feverishly for the past probably 2 weeks. Partly to gear up for this episode of what we're talking about later, and then also because I wanted to binge watch all of the Star Wars Skywalker saga films again for the holiday season. And you know what? There are some minor regrets, but overall, I had a good time, and I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, you know, I really needed more time than I gave myself to catch up on 2022 movies that I missed out on. And I would say that while I don't necessarily regret it, I would say that a particular misstep may have been watching all 9 Star Wars movies with Mick, because that was like 2 days worth of content.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to set you back a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, like, I really enjoyed it. You know, it's like something where it's like, there's not a lot of things that I feel particularly like nerdy about that are in the realm of like nerdy things, you know? But I feel good about Star Wars, you know? Like, not like, you know, like how you guys are about Lord of the Rings. It's not like that. Okay?
Oh, speaking of that.
Like, I love Lord of the Rings, but it's not
ready?
like you guys.
You
And I
ready?
love Star Wars, but
Watch
it's
this.
not like the Star Wars people.
Watch this.
I have a visual aid for Alexis.
Yeah, which
Okay.
is fantastic for a podcast. As we know, it's a visual medium.
Oh, you got a whole map.
It's a blanket. Zach got a Middle Earth blanket map.
Wow.
Well, let's be clear.
It's very soft.
Let's hold on just a moment. It's not a full map of Middle-earth. It's simply Bilbo's map from his journey to the Lonely Mountain.
Oh,
Is
it's so
that
from The
what-
Hobbit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, very
Yeah,
nice.
Sloan
I
got
read that in
one.
the 8th grade.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, so...
That's great, though.
It's not like that for you with Lord of the Rings.
It's
but-
not like that for me for Lord of the Rings, and I wouldn't even say that it's necessarily like that for Star Wars, but there are definitely like moments where I'm watching the movie where like I'm just like, this, and this, you know, and I really feel like a little nerd. You know, anime is truly my realm in many ways,
Yeah.
you know, so
You are a weeaboo, for sure.
That's my true nerd scope.
You know, I'm also glad that I rewatched it because I lately, the past couple of years, I've kind of been ragging on Star Wars a little bit just because of the fan base. They're just so
Which is
much.
me.
No,
I'm
no,
part
you're
of the
not-
problem.
You're not really. I don't think you are part of the problem. The problem is the internet discourse. It's just anytime anything comes out, people just decide that they already claim ownership over it, and they tear it apart and they tear the artist apart who made it.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of tired of all of that toxicity, but revisiting, especially the prequels, I have to say, was a lot of fun. And it reignited a spark that had long since gone out within me of like, you know what, Star Wars is pretty awesome. I really like it.
It's
done
just a
well,
really fun world, I think, is what it is. Like, it's not like particularly that the movies, except for the original trilogy, are like particularly good necessarily. Right. Like the storylines are inconsistent. And
the acting is inconsistent.
Yes, super inconsistent. It's really like a hit or miss. It's only the more experienced actors that you're really like, that's what we're asking for.
But the politics of the trilogy is great.
Yeah,
I really
so much
love
fun.
all of that.
But I'm just like the last trilogy. I'm just there for Damp Daddy Adam Driver.
Damp Daddy, yeah.
Which I was so excited for Mick to watch the last movie, not because that one is arguably the worst of all of the movies.
It's my least favorite Star Wars movie.
It is the worst of all of them. But he is so wet for like so much of this movie.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of revisiting fun worlds and being wet.
Oh God, The Way of Water.
The Way of motherfucking Water.
I can't even say anything because, like, I did like the movie.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's the
I
coolest.
cried quite a bit. Me and my sister both.
Yeah, I rewatched the first movie. I believe we discussed this on our last episode. And then went and saw Avatar: The Way of Water immediately after. Obviously the technology has like come a long way. The spectacle has only increased.
Yeah.
But Sam Worthington has become a better fucking actor.
He has.
I stand by that. I was genuinely rooting for Jake Sully. And he's kind of my boy now. He's kind of my friend. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's been like
I'm not
it's
there
been like
yet.
what, like over 10 years?
Over
13 years.
13 years, yeah. I mean, like, think about how much experience he's gotten under his belt within that time. So
that and the character had more to do this time.
Yes, I would agree.
Him being a father, a conflicted father, I think really fits Sam Worthington well. It gave him more to do.
Can I bring something up? Because I was having to edit the last episode, so there's like this whole like almost like 20 minutes where only you guys are talking, and Mick is ragging on the fact that I didn't want to go see Avatar with him.
Oh, yeah.
But of course, when I got to town, and I told Mick this, I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to end up seeing Avatar because I know that my nephew, who's 7, really wants to go see Avatar. And I will not say no to that child because I'm the favorite, and I have to maintain that rank through any means possible.
You have a reputation to consider.
But it was so cute because we took it. I don't think he's ever been to a 3D movie before, or at the very least, he doesn't remember being to a 3D movie before. It's also funny. I think I did actually go see the last Star Wars movie with him when he was like 4, and he fell asleep towards the last 30 minutes. I had to like carry him out of the theater. It was pretty cute.
That's really cute.
Yeah, but when he put on the 3D glasses and the fish were swimming at the beginning, he was like reaching his hand out to like touch them. And my sister was in between us, and she's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Why can't I touch them?"
I love that. Wow.
He's so cute.
You know what else I watched? A bit of a pivot.
Okay.
Is not a new
That's too
film.
bad, because I have more to say about Avatar: Way of Water, but go for it.
Oh, don't worry, Nick. You'll have more chances.
Oh, no! Oh, God. I know what that means. Okay, keep going.
Not necessarily, but you will have more chances. I watched Eyes Wide Shut for the first time.
Oh, that's right. I saw that.
Fantastic fucking movie.
It's as good as the legend has.
Huh?
Yeah, well, I've kind of noticed, like, growing up, the discussion around that movie has sort of changed.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for a long time it was kind of discussed as like, oh, it's kind of a bummer that was Stanley Kubrick's last movie because it's not as strong as some of his. I think that movie's a fucking masterpiece.
Did Stanley Kubrick do Barry Lyndon?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Haven't seen it yet.
Oh my god, that movie is so good. Because I love a good period piece, and it is beautiful.
It is one of the quintessential period pieces.
The white shots are gorgeous.
Well, that's one of the Kubricks I still need to check out.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
I got the unfortunately, because I only paid like $2 for this vinyl, like the first side has a scratch in it, so I haven't played it because I don't want to mess up my machine. But the back side is playable, and some very, very good classical music on that soundtrack.
The Barry Lyndon soundtrack.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
The music is so good. You really,
It really
need to check
is.
that out.
I'm really excited to watch it.
Yeah, so Eyes Wide Shut, I still need to watch that, and then Clockwork Orange. That's another one I've
Oh
missed.
my god.
I
One
still
of
have to check
his
that out.
best. One of his best.
That's all Alexis has to say about that.
I remember when I was still in college and like I think it was like 2018 or something. I put it on, and then like within the first 20 minutes I was like, you know what? I take it back. I don't know if I'm in the right headspace to watch this movie.
It has
Yeah.
the big ick.
So I was like,
ick,
you know what? Maybe I'll come back to it. And I just never did.
Yeah, it's not a super fun watch.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, there's a lot of, you know, I'll bring this up when we get to the movie that I'm going to talk about later.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. Do you have anything else?
Well, yeah, I do. I watched Female Trouble, which is a John Waters movie.
Oh, I heard about that.
I had only ever seen one of his other films, Multiple Maniacs, which I...
You've never seen Hairspray?
Oh, well, yeah, I've seen Hairspray.
Like the original John Waters version?
No.
Okay, so you have to see the original John Waters version.
I know I do, because Divine is swiftly becoming one of my all-time favorite actors, because he's so
We should all watch
good.
Pink Flamingos then. I've never seen it.
Yeah,
You've been wanting to watch that for a while.
I love John Waters.
Yeah, I wasn't really sold on him after Multiple Maniacs,
Yeah.
but now that I've
It's
seen
just-
Female Trouble, it's so funny.
I haven't seen
He's
any
just
of his work yet.
Kind of off base in some ways that is very interesting, and I really like it.
Yes, he is very much an underground,
Yeah, like kind of punk.
film. Yes,
Yeah, you
he,
know?
he is willing to go places that other filmmakers are not.
Yeah, definitely.
And
definitely.
also, Female Trouble features a moment where you probably have one of the most, in my mind, the most heartfelt scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
That is immediately followed by the line, "Bumping pussies is against jail rules."
Wow.
I'm in. That's all I needed to hear. I will be watching that.
Okay. All right.
And it's kind of a Christmas movie, much like Eyes Wide Shut.
Great.
Yeah.
Zach, your ability to find Christmas within films never does not
Listen,
amaze me.
Edwin and I sat down before Christmas and we were like, look, if we watch the same, 8 Christmas movies that we watch every single
that's
year,
fair.
we're gonna go insane. So we need to...
Gotta spice it up
Yeah.
with some John Waters.
I spiced it up with Lindsay Lohan's Falling for Christmas.
Oh, I rewatched that.
Oh my god. I couldn't get through it.
No,
God.
you couldn't. I had to turn
God
it
help
off
me.
at Mick's house and then watch it by myself when I got home because I could not handle
But
his reactions to it. I was like,
Detective
"You're
Kokoa
taking-
Shaw's in it.
Detective
You're taking
Kokoa Shaw.
all of the fun out of this poorly, not great movie, okay?"
Which
I
is
think
funny
that's the
because
thing
you
is
like
that-
The Grinch and you like Bah Humbug, and that's what I was trying to do with the movie, but it didn't work.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
that's
but it's not
'cause-
the same thing. They're excited about Christmas.
Yeah, they
I'm
have-
just agreeing with a character on screen that isn't excited about Christmas. It's called empathizing. Look it up.
Yeah, Mick. Wow. Got your ass. I also did my annual rewatch of The Night Before, the Seth Rogen Christmas comedy.
yeah.
That
I haven't seen that yet.
It's really charming. It's really delightful. It's got a lot of laughs, and I've watched it with my friends since it came out, and it's a movie that's all about sort of the importance of holding on to lifelong friendships as an adult and letting those change and grow.
Yeah.
So it becomes more impactful every year.
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah. So loved watching that again.
Nice.
I rewatched this Resident Evil.
Oh yeah.
Another Christmas film.
Which
Classic.
was-
I did. I watched it in anticipation of Christmas with my sister and my nephew and stuff.
And me.
And Mick.
And I had not seen it before.
He'd not seen it before.
Which is funny because I refer to Mick as the Resident Evil of this apartment.
Am I?
Yep.
Oh man,
He's in your walls. He's in your walls.
that's another in your wall story. It really is.
It kind of is.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Well, it's in your basement-ish.
Yeah.
Well, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I prefer it if it was in the walls.
Well, no, it's like this movie, I've seen it so many times in my lifetime because, and I think this is an interesting phenomenon that we don't have anymore because cable TV isn't a thing really anymore, is that this movie was always on some fucking channel. And so it's like I'd catch the first 30 minutes, I'd catch the last 45 or something, you know? So I've seen every part of this movie so many times.
This is why I'm excited to actually sit down and watch Titanic at some point, because that has been my
That
viewing
is
experience.
one of
you've
my
always seen it in
favorite
bits and parts.
boat movies.
Oh, well,
Well,
unfortunately,
buckle up for my birthday.
Wait.
Unfortunately, we're never going to talk about boat
I have
movies.
an excellent tie-in to Titanic, but I got so fucking stoked during Avatar, during the boat scene, because I was
yeah.
like, do I hear the theme of Titanic from James Horner in here? I got really excited because I fucking
And
love that
you
soundtrack.
did. You did.
The end of that. Okay, yeah, I can't get too deep into this. Yeah.
Clearly, the man loves flooding boats because he's very good at it.
Oh yeah,
I kept
he
thinking
loves
of that
underwater shit.
when I was watching
he
the
likes
end of
making
Avatar. I was
people
like,
nice and wet.
I'm enjoying watching these people clearly getting thrashed around in water because you know James Cameron really did that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
He's known for
absolutely.
doing that. Yeah. I watched The Menu
Oh,
finally, and honestly, I have to say, I surprisingly thought it was pretty average.
yeah. Or like the mid-you.
It was it was okay. I really liked. Here's the thing. I really like gastronomy, and I used to watch the show Chef's Table, and
Did you say I really love astronomy?
gastronomy.
Oh.
And
All right, you fancy boy. You
I
can
really
say cooking.
well. Here's the thing. I really think the filmmakers of The Menu thought, let's take The Menu, or excuse me, let's take Chef's Table and just make a murder mystery out of it, because you have the pretentiousness of the whole food as art, and they really play with that. And I personally found that really entertaining and really funny. I loved what they were calling all the different dishes, or especially when Nicholas Holt's character had a chance to make something. But yeah, I don't know. It just never quite took off with its premise. It never really did enough. I think you were right with that.
Yeah, I think maybe the thing is, like, it has that satire there, but it doesn't really go deep enough with it to be interesting, and then
Yeah.
it doesn't deliver as, like, what you're saying, like a murder mystery or as a horror
Yeah.
movie. So, yeah, no,
The strongest aspect of it is its premise, and that's kind of an issue. And you need to have more than that.
yeah.
Another movie that I went to go see while I was in town with my family was Devotion. Because remember, I talked about this on the pod last time, was that my dad didn't like The Fabelmans because it's too artsy or something with the
Right.
wife. Who knows?
God.
I don't know. You know, I think it might have been the wife. That probably was it. But I wanted to take him to something more action-based, and so we saw Devotion, and my dad, his one complaint of why he did not particularly love the movie was that the man cried too much. And
Yeah.
which was so funny, because then me and my sister the next, like, I think it was like the next day or like a day or so like after, we went to breakfast, and then we kind of like talked to my dad about, like, you know, why we teach her children that it's okay to, like, you know, express their emotions, even if that means that they're going to cry, you know. And you know, my dad, he genuinely just, like, looks uncomfortable sometimes when we have these, like, discussions where it's like, oh, we clearly don't agree with you, Dad, and we're explaining to you why we feel this way. And literally, like, a few days later, I was at his house, and he was like, hey, you know, I've been thinking, but, like, you know, sometimes, actually, just today, I was watching a movie, and you know what the fuck? I was just crying. So you know what? Maybe I'm being unfair. Because you know what? What the fuck? I cry all the time. You know?
I was there for that conversation. I'm really glad I got to witness that side of her father. I had not seen that before.
Oh, I see it all the time.
And I
Because
was
it's like,
oh, that's so nice.
because that's what I'm saying is that, like, you know, I know that a lot of people, when they're with their parents, they'll just let them say, like, whatever sometimes because it's like, oh, they're my parent, they're not going to change.
Right.
I do not feel like that. I'm all, you may feel that you are a dog that is not going to learn any fucking new tricks, but I'm not going to stop giving you a goddamn treat to try. So
Put that shit on your nose, flip it up in the air.
That's my favorite metaphor so far of dealing with parents over the holiday season.
Do you want a treat?
Do you want a treat? Can't teach an old dog new treats.
yeah, but so I got my dad to admit that maybe a man crying is not the worst thing in the world.
Good for you, Alexis. You are doing God's work.
I truly am. And you know what? I'm really enjoying this like Jonathan Majors like moment that we're having.
We're seeing him everywhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch all the Creed movies so that I can watch Creed 3.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, we need to get together. I've seen Creed. I haven't seen Creed 2.
I haven't seen
either of them
either.
Creed's really good.
I'm really interested too because like I know that this is gonna be Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut.
Yeah.
So it should be very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick before we get out of this, 2 other movies I watched. I watched Empire of Light. That was the last movie that I saw in theaters that I hadn't seen before.
Okay.
I didn't really enjoy it. I feel like it's kind of the movie you would get if you told an AI to write a like awards bait movie.
Interesting.
It deals with like racial prejudices, women's issues, mental health issues, the power of the cinema. It's a period piece.
What movie?
It's Empire of Light.
Oh, the Sam Mendes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a master of none, basically. It tries
yes.
to cover so much that it doesn't do anything particularly well.
Yeah.
It's like my student film.
May it rest in peace. Olivia Colman definitely does something in that movie. I don't know if it's good, but
She does something.
She made a choice, so...
and then
Nothing like a little bit of girl on girl.
Still not touching her performance in Hot Fuzz, nowhere close.
So good.
And then the last movie that I watched in 2022 was Hustle, the Adam Sandler basketball drama.
Oh, I liked that movie so much when I saw it. I saw it way earlier this year, but I liked it.
I missed it when it came out, and I was delighted.
Oh, you know why I watched it? Because my sister insisted that I watch it because she was like, Alexis, you will not believe this man is so hot. And I was like, oh,
which sister?
Sure.
Natalie? Interesting.
Was she talking about Adam Sandler?
Absolutely not. She was talking about the guy.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't peg her as a
watched
Sandler
Hustle?
type. No, I haven't.
Okay, well, the guy that he like is teaching.
Bo Cruz.
Yeah, he's
a hunk.
He's a good looking.
Is he a hunk of burning love?
Yeah.
He looks good, and I'm not even particularly into muscular men, but he look good.
Oh boy.
Maybe not as much as my sister think he'll look good, but yeah.
He'll look good.
Bo Cruz is a handsome man.
Yeah. Okay, so of all the movies that I watched in the past week, there are only 3 that I'm not going to be touching on at any other point during this episode, so I'm going to list them off really quick. I watched the new Pinocchio by Guillermo del Toro. Cute, really cute. Not in particularly like one of my favorite movies of the year or anything.
Yeah, I didn't love it as much as I wanted to.
I think the first half of the movie, I was like, but I liked what it had to say. I like that it ties into all of his like kind of anti-war thematic stuff in all of his other movies.
Very anti-fascist.
Yes, very anti-fascist. And then the other 2 that I watched most recently was Ticket to Paradise with George Clooney and Julia Roberts. You know, I must admit, I miss a decent rom-com, you know?
Yeah.
What's wrong with a solid 6 out of 10?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm like, I gave it a 3-star, but you know, for me, I'm like, hey, it was fun. I turned my brain off for a little bit and just kind of enjoyed the little bickering and shit that was going on and situations they got themselves into. And my favorite, bloopers reel in the credits.
Really? Wait, really?
Yeah, no, bloopers reel in the credits.
I've been talking for a long time about how we need that back.
Yeah, no, they did.
That's
they
so
did that.
refreshing.
Well, you know, Mick, then you should have finished watching Falling for Christmas, because there's one in the credits.
Is there really?
Yeah, it's not good, but there is one.
Okay,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about that, but I will say I will watch Ticket to Paradise now because of the end credits. The end credit sequence.
Yeah.
It would be completely unhinged for you to watch Falling for Christmas not at Christmas time.
Yeah.
That would be
I
real
can't.
sick free
Oh my
bake.
God.
I make weird choices, but that's beneath me. I can't hang with that one.
And then the last one that I watched yesterday was Glass Onion.
Glennon.
Glennon.
I watched that
yes.
yesterday too. What did you think?
I mean, it was fun. It's obviously it's no Knives Out. The ensemble cast in Knives Out is just fucking unbelievable.
It's better.
And,
yeah.
But it was fun.
I don't know if I agree with that. I
Well,
think
here's the
Glass Onion might be better.
Well, I would say the movie, I think, in ways, is as good as Knives Out. I think the performances from the ensemble of Glass Onion are wonderful. No one does a poor job, but the ensemble cast of Knives Out is just so... it's the caliber of actors is just so...
I think it was just like I'm the type of rich people that these people are irritate me even more than the type of rich people in Knives Out.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is I'm just like, oh, fuck these fucking people. We got a goddamn politician. We got some fucking burnout model. We got a guy who's an alt-right Twitch streamer.
Yeah,
with
we've got
tiny
a tech
balls.
billionaire.
A tech billionaire. I was like, these are all the people I fucking hate.
Edward Norton continues to be so good at being an asshole.
Yep.
He
And
truly
playing them in
is.
films.
Yeah, he's undeniably an idiot, though, and that was my
that was
favorite. That was
fun.
one of the
That
most my
was fun.
favorite reveals because it's like at least in Knives Out, like the reveal is like, oh, that's actually kind of maybe it was clever, maybe you are a bit of an idiot, but in Glass Onion,
Solid
it was
scheme.
so much more fun because it's like, oh, he's so stupid.
Yeah.
And I love a dumb villain.
The Banksy doc, which is a piece of shite.
Yeah. Which,
That was great.
yeah,
I loved that.
And at the you caught that right though at the beginning when he was saying piece of shite,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, is he not getting it? Why is he not getting it?
And I'm so glad he brought up Glass Onion because I think that Glass Onion, Ryan Johnson finally announced the sexuality of our detective through a cameo
Mungo Grant.
with Hugh Grant. I jumped up off the couch when his cameo came.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Glass Onion, I liked it. I didn't love it. But I need a third movie just so I can have Hugh Grant and Daniel Craig play a couple of daddies together on screen. I
want to
need
see
it.
that man bake some cookies for his partner.
I need it. I was so happy. I can't believe that they
Dude,
got Hugh Grant to do that
his
cameo.
fucking, are you in the bathtub again?
Yeah.
And there's just shit littered everywhere.
I love it.
It was so much fun.
That might be
So-
my favorite part of
Yeah.
the movie, actually.
Also-
What I'm hearing from you guys is that you'd like the next Benoit Blanc film to be a rom-com.
yeah, with
Doesn't
Hugh
need
Grant.
to be a murder mystery.
Yeah, a solid 6 out of 10.
Hey man, it
Rom-com.
could be a murder mystery as long as you throw in the rom-com.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Ryan Johnson, again, I know you're listening. Take
He
notes.
does like this
Hey,
podcast.
what if they go to like, I don't know, an underground sex dungeon or something?
Which brings up a movie I'm going to be talking about
Dungeons
later.
and Dragons! No, sorry.
I am excited
really
for that.
excited to see that movie.
Wait, maybe Dungeons and Dragons, it's an unofficial sequel to Glass Onion, where he just is in a sex dungeon with his boyfriend.
No, that's Hugh Grant's real life. Don't get
Oh,
it
that's true.
confused.
All right. Do we have any other films we want to discuss?
No.
Yes, I
Oh,
do have a
sure.
film I'd like to discuss because we had a listener email.
Yes, that's
Today.
right. Thank
Wait,
you.
but isn't that like our main topic?
No, that's
No,
still
it's-
in,
it's
in
a
this
side
segment.
topic? Wait, what's our main topic then?
Just the thing that we're talking
Oh,
about.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is a bit of a different format.
Okay,
Right.
for sure.
But yeah, we got an email from Brad, our friend from Humboldt.
Hi, Brad.
Hello, Brad.
It's so good to not see you again, but to hear from you. I miss you, buddy.
Thanks for listening to our fucking voices.
I miss your brisket.
Oh my god.
So, Brad's question is, what is your favorite non-CGI action or sci-fi movie? And Brad also recommended that we watch Fantastic Planet, which I have heard about and want to check out.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
that
going to look
from
that up right now.
46 or 54 or
I
something?
thought-
Is
I
it
thought
like an
was
old
like
movie?
I thought it was a 70s movie for some reason, and I'm
It
pretty sure
might
it's
be.
French. Anyways,
Oh, I'm thinking of
Oh.
Forbidden Planet.
Yes,
That's what
yes,
I'm thinking of.
I know the poster from this.
yes,
Yeah.
super famous poster.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
But yeah, thank you for that suggestion, Brad.
Yeah, thank you,
And,
Brad.
Yeah, what do you guys think? Favorite non-CGI action or sci-fi movie? Brad listed 2001: Space Odyssey as an example.
Good choice, Brad, by the way. Beautiful film. And that's true. No, I don't believe there's any CGI in that because computers weren't really making generated effects yet.
Nope.
So, yeah, good movie. And fantastic soundtrack. I agree with you. If it's okay, I'll get the ball rolling with this one.
Roll that ball.
My favorite non-CGI, I'm going to dip into the action genre because, Brad, you went with the sci-fi. Every time I watch it, I am convinced that it's the best action film ever made, and that is the 1990, I forget what year it came out, so sorry, but Speed with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock.
That's fair. It's good from start to finish.
From beginning to end.
It literally never slows down.
It doesn't. I mean, think about it, guys. You have...
Alexis was so happy.
You should have seen the face she made.
Wow. Guys, this movie, Speed,
it doesn't slow down.
Really fast.
You know, the bus can't.
So. No, it can't. Literally, it's a plot point. It can't slow down.
That's kind of like the whole thing.
It's kind of the whole theme. Alexis, that was fantastic.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, Speed is just, it's so good. I think that Keanu Reeves looks the most attractive out of any other role he's ever done in Speed. That choker microphone collar thing that he's got going and the buzz cut.
We know what your type is, Mick.
It's so great. And I love
military man.
I love the which
Lang.
is true, which is so true.
Yeah.
Yes, Stephen Lang, Daddy Lang.
Oh my god, I had to listen to you guys fucking talk about Stephen Lang and
Daddy
J.R.
Slang.
Simpkins. J.K.
Simmons.
J.R. Simpkins?
It's just as bad as J.J.
Wow.
JJ might be worse. If I had called him JJ,
J.R.
he would have hit me.
Simpkins. I love that. Alexis, the fucking hot takes today are searing. I have burns.
You're so welcome. I'm hot.
Yes, you are. With those hot takes.
I'm
yeah, no,
steamy
I
hot
know.
in this
She's
jacket.
dripping.
So I do agree that Speed is a wonderful action movie. It's one of the first R-rated movies I ever saw.
Wow.
We got it on VHS
Dennis Hopper.
from Goodwill.
So good.
Yeah, Dennis Hopper, fantastic. But I do have to say, you got to pay respect to the film that Speed owes everything to. And that's Die Hard. Absolutely.
It's a good movie.
Die Hard created the formula that Speed is riffing on.
Well,
the time constraint thing?
Contained setting with hostages, cat and mouse game between a hero and a extremely sort of,
but
maybe not megalomaniacal, but a villain with a massive personality.
Is that your answer to his question?
I would say that, yeah, Die Hard. I rewatched Die Hard for Christmas because that was one of my exceptions, and good God, that is a perfect action movie.
I still don't love it as much as you do. I think that Speed does action better. It really does. Because just the premise of it, you have a bus.
Better.
You have a... I'd agree, I think. I think I'd agree with that. But the problem, though, for me, is that the on-screen chemistry between Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock is so perfect. Because, for the few of you who probably don't know this, in real life, while they were shooting Speed, Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock both had big crushes on one another.
Fat crushes. And they didn't know for years.
They never admitted it to each other. It never went anywhere until exactly years later they admitted it, and they were like, "Oh my God, we missed out. Oh, that's so tragic." So when you rewatch it and you see them looking at each other with that twinkle in your eye, you know that's real.
Yeah.
And I even cry at the end when Sandra Bullock is on the ground and he asks her, "Are you okay?" And she's just like, she is okay, but just it's the test, all the adrenaline, everything is just coming back to her, and it's just she can't help but weep, and I weep with her.
I have to take the relationship between Bruce Willis and Bonnie Bonilla over that. I think it's so moving. The bit where John is bleeding out from his feet in the bathroom, and he's talking to Sergeant Al Powell on the radio, and he goes, you know, tell my wife, don't tell her I love her. I've told her that a million times. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her John said he was sorry. I should have believed in her. I should have stood behind her. She made a great life for herself out in LA. And I'm like, that is so unconventional for like the big emotional catharsis for your action hero to be admitting that he should have supported his wife's career.
But that's realer.
Yeah, it's so, I think it's such a great moment. I think John McClane's such a great character. And I'm not even getting into the fantastic cast of goons and Alan motherfucking Rickman.
I was about to say, I
Rickman.
wanted to remember who the villain was. I thought it was Alan Rickman, but I couldn't remember.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Actually, I love that as like a going away line to recognize somebody instead of just saying like, because that it's a cliche, it's sentimentality to just be like, tell my wife that I love her. And
I've only heard that a million times before.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's the line that propels you into the third act climax. So
it's keeping with conventions but breaking it slightly.
Yes.
So,
Oh, we love that at the film.
we love that.
We so do. John McTiernan completely destroying the 80s action genre and reinventing it.
John McTiernan. When it comes to John McTiernan, Predator, I still prefer Predator over Die Hard.
Great movie.
But I gotta say, yes, Die Hard did do it first, but I think Speed did it better.
Alexis, I'm so sorry we've gone off on this for like...
No, that's totally fine.
What are you thinking?
So what was at the forefront of my mind was the original Star Wars trilogy, because I just rewatched it. Because the original trilogy did not have any CGI in it.
Not at
That's
first.
correct.
Yes, I actually own the VHS set that has the pre-97 butchery as... I literally found this in an amoeba in like Santa Cruz or something, and like on the box set itself it says pre-97 butchery.
Wait, did you bring your VHS player with you?
No, I'm going back to get
fantastic.
it once my car is fixed.
You get that, you get the original Star Wars trilogy, and I'll buy some popcorn.
God, yeah, because when I rewatched the Star Wars trilogy, I was like, what the fuck is that?
It's so disgusting.
It's not, no.
You know what?
It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit in the world.
And here's the thing, at least personally, I'm not anti-CGI. I love practical effects, but I understand CGI accomplishes so much in film. Sometimes you don't notice it. But I will say, I think that the fact that they basically erased so many versions, and now you can only get on like VHS, that's wrong. It's a form of censorship that I don't appreciate from
there
Lucasfilm.
is no other version on Disney Plus other than the fucking CGI version of these movies.
And that's not right.
And I'm like, first of all,
just for archival,
whoever I need to come find,
George Lucas.
I will come find you, and I will hunt you down, and I will make you put the non-CGI version on Disney Plus.
That was weird that Liam Neeson just came on the show just then.
I don't know who you are.
Channeling.
George Lucas, I will find you, and I will shit in your mouth.
Oh, God.
Yeah. You remember when he said that? That's weird.
Oh, my God. Okay, but no. So especially because, like, knowing what I know about, like, fucking Harrison Ford and, like, everybody. Like, even the guy who plays, like, Obi-Wan, they, like, he was a pretty, like, prominent, well-respected actor. Yeah. They couldn't really afford to pay him much. Yeah. So they didn't pay him much. He ended up getting a back-end deal, but he did that because he believed that the movies were going to be good. He actually like believed in it. He was like, I'll take a pay cut, whatever, just give me a back-end deal. Holy shit, that man must have been so fucking rich,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Like that was it. Normally that's not a great thing for actors to get a back-end deal, but it really worked out for him.
To my recollection, he might be one of the few people that did believe in it. Like
because like Harrison Ford wanted to be written out of these movies like pretty fucking early on.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
Like the fucking Christmas special that they have that like is between the Empire Strikes Back.
Is that when they did it? Between Empire and Return?
I thought it was between Star Wars and Empire.
It might be.
Either way, it's awful.
But you can see in Harrison Ford's eyes that he is losing his soul throughout that fucking Christmas special. It looks like he's physically getting teeth pulled with what he's saying. It's like he's like, yeah, this is my line and I'm gonna give it.
God damn it.
That's the energy that he brings.
He's like Alan Rickman from Galaxy Quest, essentially.
But it's like watching the original Star Wars. I'm like looking at them in these like, they're in like an aircraft carrier or whatever, and there's all these computers and buttons and everything around them, and I just think to myself, wow, somebody built all of that. They're just sitting in a fucking room pretending like they're in space and trying to shoot shit. No wonder they fucking thought this was weird, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if I really think about it and put myself in the shoes of them, like, I'm like, nobody had really done something on that scale with space in the same way, really.
It's my understanding that George Lucas's wife edited the first Star Wars.
I believe that's right.
And according to legend, and any listener, correct me if I'm wrong, write us in, but the first cut of Star Wars was unwatchable. Like, it was so deplorably bad.
Yeah.
And George Lucas's wife came in, cut a bunch of stuff out, rearranged a bunch of the story, and then that's what we have, and then they called it New Hope later on. So essentially, the only reason Star Wars ever blew up was because one person re-edited the film, saved it in post-production.
Yeah.
Because had it come out the way it should have been, Star Wars, I don't think ever would have taken off.
You know who helped the movie in post-production as well? Brian De Palma.
Ooh, please
Makes
explain.
sense.
Brian De Palma wrote the opening crawl for Star Wars. George Lucas screened it for him, Spielberg, and a couple other guys. And, like, Spielberg was, like, pretty hot on it. Was like, oh, George, you've done great work.
Now you know my Brian De Palma impression.
Brian De Palma was like, none of this makes any...
He was like, I will write you
It's not
the
like...
best opening.
Here's like...
No, please. Me and Mick, every time a new movie came on, we'd read the opening credits in that
voice.
Okay, so Brian De Palma was like,
this doesn't make any fucking sense. And you need to put some text in explaining this shit.
George Lucas, in a galaxy far, far away, there's a man called Scarface.
No,
Get out of here, Brian.
We were fucking losing our shit. We'd have to stop and have to start again when we were doing these stupid voices.
Brian, I think the thing is that I'm not really sure.
My God, I'm
about this
spitting
whole
on my pop
crawl
filter so
thing.
much.
I don't know.
Please, there are children listening.
I don't know if we really want to do that whole crawl thing.
No, just trust me, it's gonna be really fucking.
Well, I don't know if that's gonna be good.
No, it's gonna be fucking good.
For anyone listening to this, if you ever want to make Alexis laugh, just look at her deeply and say, George Lucas. Just like that, it'll get her.
So,
are we still in What's Going On?
yeah, and it's
man.
mostly...
This is so bad.
We're halfway through the Phantom Menace at this point in terms of length. Jar Jar Binks just arrived.
No,
Howard.
Yeah, I feel like it's okay to have a
replaced him with
longish...
Meep Meep.
It's okay to have a longish What's Going On. My leg!
Sorry. What?
It's okay for What's Going On to be a little long today, because...
Yeah.
You know, our big topic will be the entirety of the rest of the
To be
episode.
fair, like, we haven't all been together in like almost 3 weeks.
That's
so
right.
I feel
That's
like
true.
we're getting a lot out right now, and there's really high energy in this room.
Alexis, you're right. You're welcome, listeners, for what we're doing right now. God, if only I could be you.
You should be taking a jet.
Oh my God.
Just Lucas.
I'm enjoying this podcast.
Okay, so I think that we could probably get out of What's Going On.
Yeah, let's hop on out.
Goodbye, What's Going On? Goodbye. Farewell.
And we can start with our big topic, which, as advertised at the end of our last episode, is going to be a little different than our other episodes, because we're not covering a specific film today.
Yeah.
We are talking about our top 10 favorite movies of the year.
Yes.
2022 is over.
Are we doing our honorable mentions first, and
Yes.
then our top 10?
We should.
Yes.
Okay.
Very quickly, I'd like to just run through some movies that I missed.
Okay.
I
don't even want to do that. There's too many.
Yeah,
same.
I watched a lot of movies last. I watched 52 movies, but a few that I missed were Decision to Leave. As we all remember, I went to go see that. Yeah, I saw half that movie, was really enjoying it, and then I thought that there was someone in the theater with a gun, so I made a decision to leave. Babylon, which I've heard very mixed things about, but I'm excited to see. After Yang, the Colin Farrell low-budget sci-fi film from A24 that I heard was good. After Sun, The Woman King.
I saw that.
There we go.
After Sun, I saw it.
You saw. Okay.
Yeah. I actually purchased it on Amazon Prime, so if you want to watch it, let me know.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, that was the only way to watch
you
it
can
was
rent
to
it?
buy it anywhere for $20.
I missed The Woman King.
Wow. Yeah, same.
Breaking, the bank robbery movie starring John Boyega that I really wanted to see and missed.
Okay.
White Noise, Noah Baumbach's new movie with
I
Adam
wanted
Driver.
to see that too.
I missed that as well.
Something in the Dirt, which is another low-budget sci-fi film from the guys who made The Endless, which was a movie I liked a lot from 2017. All Quiet on the Western Front, which you guys saw.
Yes.
Good film.
And Andrew Callahan, who people might know as All Gas, No Brakes from YouTube.
Yeah.
He made a documentary chronicling 2020 up to the January 6th Capitol riot.
Oh, God. Covering the pandemic. And
Yes.
Oh, God.
He made a
That sounds like
documentary.
a fun
Wait,
one.
what's his name?
Andrew Callahan.
Oh, I've seen some of the clips from it on TikTok,
Yes.
actually.
Is it horrifying to watch?
Actually, a
Just
little
listen to
bit,
it. Yeah, I would
because it's
imagine.
like, it's literally just like children being programmed for a certain type of nationalism.
But yeah, the last one is Andrew Callahan's This Place Rules, which I believe is on HBO Max, and I'm hoping to check out.
Cool.
So yeah, those are the movies that I missed.
I missed a lot. I missed Call Me by
Bones and All.
Bones and All. I missed that one. What's the other one with Florence Pugh and
The Wonder.
Oh yeah, missed
No,
that.
I watched the Wonder.
Don't worry, darling.
Don't worry. Thank you, Alexis. Don't worry, darling. I managed to.
I'm
to
so
miss
on
that
this
one.
game.
And then the movie about the Me Too movement. I missed.
She said.
She said.
She
I missed
said
that as
I
well.
missed that.
Yeah,
I really
that's
want to
good.
watch that. I missed Puss in Boots, the new
No.
new movie, and
I
if
will not be gaslit into being told that that's good. I don't believe you.
Okay. I'll give you my list of things that I've missed. The Eternal Daughter with Tilda Swinton. I've heard that it's good. I wanted to watch Emily the Criminal, the movie that you worked on.
Good
Yeah.
movie.
I've
Is it? I
made
didn't
my
even watch it
way.
too.
Yeah, good watch. It's on Netflix.
There's 2 movies that I have actually gotten halfway through within the last 12 hours. But it wasn't because they were boring or anything. It was just I don't think I have time to watch this.
Yeah.
One of them was RRR, and then the other one was Decision to Leave. And then I really did want to actually watch that Pixar movie Turning Red. And I also didn't see Marcel the Shell.
Oh, the
with
Shell.
Oh, I
Sean.
like that movie.
I missed that
Yeah.
too. I missed a lot.
I wanted to watch Triangle of Sadness.
Oh, I missed that.
Crimes of the Future. I wanted to see that.
It's good.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think it's great.
White
though.
Noise, The Wonder. There's this movie called Hit the Road. But in particular, I missed Broker, which was the
I don't
it's
think
the one
that's.
that you're talking about.
I don't. No.
It's not released yet here, but it has been released already in Korea
Internationally, yeah.
internationally.
But we haven't
So-
missed it.
We haven't
'Cause
missed
it hasn't been given
released
to us
here yet, but it
Yeah,
is
that's-
technically a 2022
Oh,
movie that
that's the
we haven't
film
watched
about
it.
the child that's
Yeah.
going to.
Yeah,
oh,
the
okay.
starring Song Kang Ho.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very
Which
excited.
I watched him covering his career last night.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new one with him, and it's such a good video.
Yeah.
Him covering all of his movies. God,
yeah.
what a great! It's. I love it when you watch a video with an actor and you're like, God, I love you. You're so great.
There's also
We love celebrity worship here.
Alejandro
Iñárritu?
Iñárritu. He
Yeah.
did that movie Bardo.
Oh, yeah.
Which I
That's
wanted to
another
watch
I
that
missed.
one.
Yeah. Damn it.
But yeah, and then obviously White Noise and The Wonder I wanted to watch too. But
The
because
Wonder-
I just want to watch Florence Pugh
Oh.
eat that shit up.
Okay, I will.
So-
I will say I watched The Wonder last night.
Okay.
And I did not like it as much as I wanted to. But
I
here's,
didn't. I heard that the movie's not great, but that Florence Pugh is great.
I was just gonna say
Yeah.
this might be my favorite performance from her.
Yeah.
yet. It's
That's-
so
that's-
good.
I
It's
will.
so good.
Oh wait, what's the day today? The third.
The third.
Today is National Florence Pugh Day. It is her birthday. She literally
Wait,
put it
really?
up on her Instagram. Tomorrow is
Hey.
National Florence Pugh Day.
Happy birthday,
Yeah,
Florence.
I would
Happy
happily
birthday,
celebrate
girl. We love
that.
you
Wow,
on
we
here.
really do.
Come on the pod. Florence.
Yeah.
Please, can you imagine our first celebrity guest, Florence Pugh, everybody?
In this apartment.
Oh shit, we booked Brian De Palma.
See my new movie, The Wonder.
So
You're fired.
the way that we've decided to do this, I want to break this down for our listeners,
Okay.
is we're going to do a full top 10 list and talk a little bit about each of those movies, but we also want to give ourselves 5 honorable mentions. I move that we just go around the table, Everyone says they're 5.
I agree.
And if you have any quick blurbs you want to give,
I'm still gonna list them in order, in rank, but I will give it all at once.
Okay.
Alexis over here like a deck of cards.
Yeah, Alexis has her scroll out.
She has 4 twos.
They're
all
post-it
posted,
notes all
so she put
posted
together.
I'm also.
Wow.
I'm just gonna say
That's so postal.
I'm very sad that I'm not getting 10 honorable mention picks because the 16 through 20 on my movies I've watched this year are also very good watches.
Yeah, there are a lot of good movies that came out this year.
I have 6, but 2 are specifically only about acting, so I feel like they should be counted as 1.
Well, whatever. It's our podcast. Alexis, go ahead.
Interesting.
Great. Okay. So I wanted to shout out Jackass Forever because I saw that movie in February with Mick, and you know what? It reminds me of childhood. I love those men.
Is that your number 15?
No, it's not my number 15. I don't have
honorable mention.
I don't have anything numbered like that.
Oh, okay.
I only have my top 10 numbered. I did not number anything else.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I can't even put anything else in numbers because one of the movies on here wouldn't even be in my top 20, but I wanted to mention it.
All right.
You know what? That's fair.
We make the rules.
That's
here.
true. This is an honorable mention, technically.
Right. Let's keep it going.
Alexis is so honorable.
Yeah, I am. So the Pearl and Tar wanted to shout those out because I fucking love Mia Goth, and I think that the monologue that she had in Pearl was so fucking incredible. And just like the last like 5 minutes of that movie, I was just like fucking riveted just by her fucking face on the screen. And then Tar, Cate Blanchett is in perfect fucking form. So, and she's like the lesbian dream. So.
The U-Haul lesbian.
The U-Haul lesbian. Maybe not in that movie. She's not my U-Haul lesbian dream, but Cate Blanchett herself is the lesbian dream. And then The Lost City, because we don't get enough medium to large budget fucking rom-coms that are action adventure,
Yeah. Good
Honestly,
choice.
I've been telling my family to fucking watch that shit. And then After Sun, I actually thought that it was...
Oh, that snuck into your...
It snuck into my honorable mentions. I was like, wow, because it's a directorial debut.
Yeah.
I thought that the her shot variety and her framing was like really interesting and didn't feel boring considering it's like very much a very simple story. And maybe I was already in a weird place because I had gone and seen women talking earlier that day. So I'd already cried so much, but like I watched the movie, I kind of had this like feeling of like, wow, it is difficult to be a parent. And then right at the very end, just all of a sudden I just started fucking crying. And I was like, wow, okay, you know what? That was actually pretty good. And then my last little shout out is The Invitation.
Oh, God.
That's the one that I added, but I was like, it's not in my top 20 or top 30 necessarily, but I fucking loved it.
Edwin is seething right now. Edwin fucking hated The Invitation.
Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen it
So
yet.
I tried watching it off of a recommendation from Brooke. You remember Brooke? Brooke, if you're listening to this, both your reaction and now Alexis is what's the tipping point for me. I'm going to watch it from beginning to end now because I fell asleep during the first 20 minutes.
Can I read you my little thing?
Your review is wonderful.
This is like an elevated self-insert vampire fan fiction, and let me tell you, I'm into it. The male lead is hot, there is some mysterious intrigue, sexual tension is ripe, and female revenge is in. It's like Get Out meets Ready or Not meets vampires. They clearly marketed this wrong. This is for the fan fiction and vampire girlies, and for those people only. Unfortunately, the master of the house is both barbaric and racist, so we can't have any of that. The movie was a fun time nevertheless. You gotta wait for the vampire battle royale towards the end. Pretty bitchin'.
I'll check it out.
Bravo. Yeah.
You don't need to check it out necessarily.
Well,
but I liked it.
We'll wait till I'm drinking again.
I know your taste.
Yeah.
I know your taste in films, and I know my taste in vampiness.
Yeah.
So when I read your review, I was like, shit, I think I missed out.
I had
I'm going to have to
Sochi
check it out.
watch it last night, and we traded audio messages back and forth about how we needed to write our own vampire movie because we're so tired of bitches being holier than thou and acting like they don't want to fucking live forever just because of some barbaric shit going on.
Yes.
And I'm like, you know what? If you take away the barbaric shit,
where's the fun?
Could be a kind of sweet deal.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
I agree. I also want to work on a pirate vampire movie, but let's leave it at that.
Okay.
It's a boat movie. I want a boat vampire movie.
Yeah, Blood Vessel is not very good.
Oh, why'd you bring that up?
Yeah, waste of a great title. Mick.
Yes.
What are you? Oh, sorry, Alexis. Do you have any more?
That's it.
Okay,
That's it.
Mick, what are your honorable mentions?
My honorable mentions, I did rank mine, so I'm going to start with, I'll just list them off. My number 15, Jackass Forever. Damn good movie. I even took a picture next to the poster after we watched it with my back on the ground, my ass in the air.
Yeah,
just
that
to
was
salute the boys.
That was formerly our Twitter banner photo.
Oh, that's
really?
right.
That's still Mick's photo in my contacts.
And I hope it stays that forever.
It's great because when you call me, all I see is a gaping hole.
Okay, I'm wearing pants in the picture, just so you know.
I'm visualizing.
Oh my God.
She's manifesting.
Ew.
There's literally a fucking, what are those things?
Alexis and her X-ray vision.
Stop!
Oh, God. Mick and his stretch marks. So, no, Jackass Forever, I really enjoyed, especially, honestly, the end credits were really good.
Yeah.
It's a picture of all of the original crew and the new additions, and the new additions are fantastic. I love all of them. Of them as children. Of really cute family pictures of them.
Yeah.
And it's just such a weird juxtaposition after watching all of them do this horrendous shit together and to each other. And then to just see them where they all came from as really sweet people, because honestly, that movie, it left you feeling good at the end, despite feeling gross.
I think it was a good send-off. Because
It
they're
was.
clearly not going to do it anymore because I don't think they can afford
Please
the
don't
concussions.
do it anymore, guys.
I don't think Johnny Knoxville for sure cannot afford any more fucking concussions. That
Speaking
poor
of Daddy.
fucking man.
Yeah.
And his poor fucking wife. I'm sure she must have been pissed.
I know.
Because
Not another one.
I know.
Exactly.
But yeah, Jackass Forever is my number 15. Great film. Number 14 is Nope by Jordan Peele. And I won't go into it again, but I'll say it really quick. I worked on the movie. The first time I watched it, it was kind of distracting because I worked on it. Second time around, I enjoyed it a lot more. So it actually managed to pop into my honorable mentions. However, the issues that I have with the film still stand. I don't like the beginning, and I don't like the end. The middle part of the film really worked for me. I love it. Number 13, Devotion, the film that Alexis spoke about, the Korean War aviation film starring Jonathan Majors and somebody help me out, Glenn Powell, right?
Yep.
Glenn Powell. Love that man. Number 12, RRR. Finally watched that last night. The legends are true. This is a absolute balls to the walls
the
film.
dance scene is so much
The
fun.
dance
Oh
scene
my God.
might be one of my favorite scenes of the whole year.
Yeah.
Yes,
it's
not
up
to.
there. It's up
That
there.
shit
Not
was
to.
fucking tight.
It was intense. I was dancing, just laying down on the
No,
couch.
my leg was
Same.
beating with
I was
the
giggling.
song. Yeah,
it
I
was
was giggling
so good.
too.
It was such a good time. But I have to say, oh God, it was so long.
Yeah,
that was
it
a
is
long
fucking
film.
long.
But here's part
I
of the
could have
problem.
gone for longer.
Oh my God.
I could have. When
Zack-
I finished RRR, I was like, that could have been like 5 hours long, and I would have been still
I started that
perfectly
movie
happy.
at 3 a.m, so
Yeah.
I don't think
And
I was in the right energy level to watch a 3-hour movie.
I'm
maybe
exactly with Alexis. I watched Glass Onion. I then watched Decision to Leave, and then I rolled RRR. And I think that might have been a mistake.
Yeah.
So, but I will say I will be revisiting RRR again for sure. Really, really good time. And oh God, the last shot, or one of the last shots, is a flag that says it's the royal crown, and it says the sun never sets on the British Empire, and it gets splattered with English blood.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And Zach, you point out something in your review that I felt so strongly, which is it's so great and refreshing to have white people, in this instance specifically the British Empire, being portrayed as just completely one-dimensional goons.
I would like to come back to this later.
Which is the same. Okay, we'll go back into it later.
I would like to come back. I promise
I also
we will.
have something on that
we will
too.
be returning to RRR.
Okay,
and then
great.
lastly, my number 11, which just this morning got pushed down out of my top 10, but I still really, really like it, is Tar with Cate Blanchett. Number 11. It was in my top 10 for a while until today. You'll see why. Really good film.
It went in and out of my top 10 at least like twice because I was like,
Yeah.
I just don't know if I liked the movie that much, but I know that
Right.
Cate Blanchett was so fucking good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's me.
Yeah, that's my 5. Zach, take it away.
All right, mine are also ranked. Number 15 is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I found that incredibly moving. I've mentioned this earlier, but I think stories where you focus on an immortal childlike being cursed with loving mortal beings forever, when you execute that well, there's maybe nothing more heartbreaking. I got a lot of shades of, as we were discussing earlier, some of Del Toro's other films, as well as one of my favorite Spielberg films, AI Artificial Intelligence.
Still have to watch it.
A heartbreaking film, and while this doesn't quite reach those heights, I still found it massively affecting. I thought the production design was phenomenal, and it's nice to see large-scale stop motion. Number 14 is Pearl. Again, we talked about it. Mia Goth, incredible in that movie. She gets more of a chance to shine, I think, than she does in X, even though she's already phenomenal in X, simply because this is more of a character study. Yeah. Again, the ending... that's right. The ending monologue, phenomenal. The final shot that we hold on is hysterical and disturbing. And also, Pearl is hot as shit, and I could fix her.
Can I just say something? Like, I was so intrigued, but horrified and riveted and just like kind of off-put, but also like loving it, that when you held on her face that last bit, I was by myself in the theater, and I just started giggling. I just started giggling because I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing now. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Interesting.
Number 13 is George Miller's 3,000 Years of Longing. Seeing the guy who made Mad Max Fury Road return to filmmaking and do such a 180 in terms of the kind of story that he's telling, where for most of the narrative, his characters are physically in one location, yet he still manages to make it expansive.
Incredibly
he manages to
expansive.
create an entire world. Idris Elba, I think, gives maybe my favorite big screen performance of his entire career. He's got great chemistry with Tilda Swinton, and I thought the ending was very sweet.
Yeah, it was cute.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed 3,000 Years of Longing.
That movie just snuck out of my honorable mentions. I really wanted to talk about it, but I'm glad it's on yours.
Yes.
Good film.
It's 13 through 11 for me have all rotated out of the number 10 spot at some point. Number 12 is Robert Eggers' The Northman.
Oh, okay.
The Northman fucking kicks ass. I rewatched most of it when I was back home. I think it has probably my favorite costume design of any movie this year. We've got Willem Dafoe back on screen, which we love. Some of the best, practical action I saw this year. And while it's probably my least favorite of Robert Eggers' films, especially after rewatching The Lighthouse last night, I still have to say, Mick is right. He's definitely one of the most exciting up-and-coming filmmakers now, and I can't wait for his next film. Number 11, which was number 10 this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not in Kansas anymore. We're on
serious?
Pandora.
Oh my God.
Absolutely. Avatar, The Way of Water
Mistake.
is maybe one of my... Shut up, you liked Elvis. Is maybe one of my favorite big screen viewing experiences of the entire year. I found the character dynamics to be much more moving than in the first film. I feel like all of the returning performers upped their game. Sigourney Weaver is wildly believable as
a
teen.
child.
Yeah,
Yes, right.
Like shockingly.
I remember watching the movie and being like, that has to be Sigourney Weaver's voice, or it has to be somebody that they got that sounds almost exactly like her. And then I was like, oh no, shit, that's fucking her.
That's Sigourney herself.
Yeah. I loved the relationships that they had between them and the animals in this movie.
I love that James Cameron gave us whale subtitles. I thought that was genius. I loved it so much. And by the time you get to the third act, it feels like James Cameron is just playing the goddamn hits from his career to incredible effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
The fucking crab mechs, wildly amazing. The, like, sort of get away from her, you bitch moment with Neytiri holding Spider hostage. Totally worked. I love I like the pairing between Spider and Quaritch. It kind of reminded me of John Connor and the T-800.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like there are few films this year that I think have had a climax as genuinely thrilling as Avatar: The Way of Water. And it kind of breaks my heart not to put it in my top 10. I think it does have some flaws, like a lot of James Cameron films. It's a little clunky. It definitely relies on cliche. But I appreciate that he's leaning on cliche to show us stuff that we genuinely have not seen before in a sci-fi world that feels fully considered.
Yeah.
Because in a world where a lot of big-budget CGI sci-fi action movies, the worlds feel kind of ancillary.
Yeah, they're
James
blended
Cameron
together.
loves Pandora, and he made me love it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I as a retort, I will say I like the movie. I think it's a good movie, but I don't love it the way you do, because my issue with The Way of Water is the same issue I have with the first film, which is it is a fantastic exercise in world building and filmmaking technology. As it comes to a narrative that makes me feel things, I feel things because, I hate to see animals die, so obviously I'm going to cry because of that, but that's a pretty easy get. It's a beautiful return to Pandora, and that was kind of it for me. Other than, I will agree, the third act, or at least the last 45 minutes, are amazing. They're so good. But Spider didn't work for me. I didn't like him as a character. I mean, he looked like someone that I'd buy shrooms from in Humboldt. And
That's how
you're buying shrooms from kids in Humboldt?
but I did enjoy his dynamic with...
right by it.
I did enjoy his dynamic with Quaritch. I'll give you that. I continue to think that Stephen Lang is holding this franchise on his shoulders. He continues to be the best part of the movie.
I am so excited to see where they go with it.
I am too.
Because I think that they're dealing with sci-fi concepts that they hadn't really touched in the first one, in terms of, like, if you make a copy of a copy of a copy, is that the same person? Like, I think the existential dread of that is explored somewhat in this, and I'm excited to see where they go with it.
I thought the editing in between Jake Sully's storyline and Quaritch's storyline, mostly in the second act, was pretty clunky. It didn't flow very organically for me, and it's, the first 2 hours is a really fun, beautiful BBC Planet Pandora B-roll for me. I mean, it's beautiful. And honestly, the production design that Weta has created is so unfathomably complex and so beautiful. Both the animals, the cultures, and the sci-fi machinery that they make is, that I could eat up for days. But just at a narrative, emotional, gut-punching level, it didn't do it for me.
I had a conversation with somebody over Instagram about the movie because they asked me if I had seen it. And this is like somebody who I consider to be more of like a snob a little bit when it comes to movies than I am. Definitely much more.
Don't be shy. Who was it?
Just this one of my customers that I had. I guess he's kind of a friend at the bar that I worked at in Sherman Oaks.
Okay.
And he works as a film teacher. He went to AFI.
Oh, cool.
I think he's in his like mid-30s maybe.
Nice.
And he had the same thoughts as like Mick, where it's like, oh, I just feel from like a narrative standpoint that the story was pretty schlocky. And my response was literally like, I don't even care. I just loved the animals so much.
Yeah, that is the thing. Is like
They are beautiful.
For me, I'm not gonna rag on you for having this at 11 the way that Mick might be a little bit, because I genuinely really enjoyed it. Because
I
was
cared
like,
about the Sullys way more than I thought I was gonna.
Yeah, no, I liked the family dynamic. I don't know that I've like, obviously I didn't make like my honorable mentions or anything, but I did really enjoy it. I gave it a 4-star on fucking.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I it was fun. Like, it was really fucking pretty. The score was really good, you know? Like, they kept all of James Horner, because, I'm horny for Horner.
Horny for Horner.
Horny for Horner. I love that fucking
music's
man.
really
Rest
good.
in peace,
Yeah.
my dude. So for me, a lot of times it's like, what makes a good movie to me is a movie that works in sync with a lot of things. So for me, it's like visually, like audibly, the music and like the sound design was all good. And you know what? I actually did like most of the characters, and I really loved Sigourney Weaver's character. I really loved her whole kind of like ethereal like connection to like AWOT, yeah. So I don't know. I liked it.
Well, we talked a lot about my number 11.
Yeah.
Do we want to crack into our top 10?
So
do it.
How are we going to do this? Are we each going to list off our 10 and 9?
Let's go around
Okay.
and talk about our 10, then our 9. And,
Sure.
if...
Yeah. So Alexis will go, I'll go, and then we'll begin the discussion,
Yes.
not one by one.
Yes.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, love it.
My number 10 is not on any of your guys' lists, I know. It's Do Revenge. It is the Netflix teen movie that came out this last year. So, yeah, go ahead. What's your number 10?
There's a little bit of a backstory to this. My number 10 was at number 17 or 16 for the last couple days. I rewatched it before recording this, and it popped up all the way up to number 10, and that is The Banshees of Inisherin. I did not... Well, yeah, you go for it.
My number 10, which has been floating around in between, 11 and 15 for a while, but I just cannot get it out of my head, is Phil Tippett's Mad God.
Oh,
I did
interesting.
not see that.
I tried it, and I
Okay.
couldn't get through it. I think I was just too high.
That'd
very
be
stoned.
such a scary movie to watch on.
Oh, God.
So a little bit of background on mine. Phil Tippett's Mad God is a passion project from the guy who did a lot of the visual effects on Star Wars,
Oh,
along
okay.
with
Yeah.
a bunch of other famous movies.
Yeah.
And it's a stop-motion descent into hell. Completely, there's no dialogue.
Yeah.
And it is the closest that I have felt to being in a nightmare while I'm awake. It truly,
it's very odd.
Truly unsettled me. Just like ghastly imagery all the way through.
Claymation can often be really cursed, and this really captures that well. And he'd been working on this for almost 20 or 30 years.
And I think it paid
And that's
off
amazing.
in spades.
Yeah. I'll have to reattempt that, because again, I only saw like the first half. Good choice. I'm glad you're talking about that. It's a really good movie.
So now we table our discussion now?
No, let's go.
Yeah, I
into-
want to hear about Do Revenge.
Yeah, I want to hear about Do Revenge.
Okay, so I think that it is because 80s had fucking John Hughes, right? So you have a lot of these like high school movies that are just like, wow, those are iconic. That's what we think of when we think of high school movies. And then you go to the 90s, you think of Clueless. In some ways, you can think of Scream.
And I do. Often.
Yeah, and there's a lot of really iconic movies from the 80s and 90s, and like a few from like the early 2000s that I truly like think of in like the vein, like 10 Things I Hate About You, where I'm like, oh, fucking high school movie, fucking love that shit. This, like, is the genre. Do Revenge is the first movie that I've seen since, like, probably, like, 2010 that's in the high school genre that I didn't think was fucking horrible. You know?
That's why I gave up on the genre, honestly.
Well, yeah, it's like, it's really, I think also because, like, obviously we're no longer in high school, and we're also not, like, at an age when we're younger and glamorizing high school, which is kind of like what I think the 80s and 90s high school movies really were for me, was this idea of, like, oh, this is what high school's supposed to be. That should be really fun, you know? Whereas, like, Do Revenge is the first time that I've seen a high school movie, and I'm just like, wow, this is fucking fun, you know? Like, it made me think, like, wow, there's, like, some very interesting, like, social dynamics that are really, like, toxic, but really fun. Maya Hawke is in it. She has incredible chemistry with fucking, what is her name? Camilla. I don't remember what her last name is, but her name is Camilla. And they have, like, really great chemistry together. The outfits are fucking insane. The color palette of this movie is, I fucking love it. Like, my eyes are rolling in the back of my head right now thinking about it. And can I just list something off really quick?
Please.
There is a white man who is, like, the student body president, and he is the leader of the cis hetero men championing female identifying students league.
Oh, wow. Oh, man. Makes me miss high school.
And he is very much not, obviously, the pro-feminist man that you think that he is.
The dude who's making a point to bill himself as that is, in fact, a
Yes.
scumbag?
Yes.
What a great brand of feminism these cis white males always have.
This is the only movie that I gave a 3.5 star to that made it into my top 10 because I really loved it so much. It's just like, oh, I can put this on. It's fun to fucking watch. It's not something that I need to, like, really absolutely, like, think a lot about, but I just get to experience it. I love looking at the short reviews on Letterboxd. One of them was, this movie is for girls only. Lesbians, pretty outfits, pretty girls, those pretty girls seeking rightful revenge on a misogynistic man. Girls kissing, female rage, a sexy soundtrack. Thank you. Another one was, Sophie Turner stole the show with the 2 minutes she got, which is fucking accurate. This woman came in and she blew a fucking gasket, and it might be one of the highlights of the fucking movie.
Sophie Turner. Is she from Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's Sansa Stark.
Sansa. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
She gets literally just, like, practically just a fucking cameo in this, and it's so fucking iconic.
This was a good year for cameos.
She gets... Do you guys want to just know, or do you guys, like, are you guys going to watch it?
I think I'm going to watch it.
I think I'm going to watch it too.
Okay, sure.
You've sold me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Somebody else said whoever did the soundtrack for this is pretty active on TikTok, and that's probably why I was also like, I love the soundtrack.
I'm sure. There it is. Our resident TikTok chief.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So, Mick, Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah.
That will appear on my list later.
Okay,
so
cool.
I vote we try to do our conversation about it now.
Okay, great. So we talked about it on a previous episode. I watched this when it came out in theaters. I didn't really care for it. I was in a bad headspace when I watched it, and this is a very bleak, depressing, cold film. So if you're not in a good mood, probably avoid this.
Unless you're into that.
Unless you're into it. And I'm personally not into it. But here's the thing. I kept crafting my list again and again and again. And Banshees of Inisherin was on a little... Because I use index cards to kind of make my system here. It kept looking at it, and I kept thinking about it. And it just kept appearing on so many other people's lists of one of their favorites of the year. And I couldn't quite get it out of my head. The Banshees of Inisherin was like my Mr. Darcy. I met him. I did not like his candor, but I could not get him out of my mind.
And it all comes back to Pride and Prejudice.
It all comes back to Pride and Prejudice. And I rewatched it today, about 4 or 5 hours ago, and I'm not like, wow, what a great time that was, but man, what a great, great allegory on breakups and a great allegory on toxic relationships. And as you mentioned, international relations, too.
I said intranational relations.
Intranational relations.
So
I see what you mean.
Yeah, conflict within a nation.
Within a nation, right.
Yeah, the fact that it's set to the backdrop of the Irish Civil War, I feel like just says so much and deepens everything that's going on.
Is that like about the orange and the green kind of thing?
Huh?
What?
Sorry, when I was in college, I did this Irish review. We did a lot of Irish songs. There's one called The Orange and the Green.
Oh, there's the Black and Tans.
Yeah.
Okay. I
Come
don't
out,
know.
you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell them how the IRA made them run like hell away. Yeah.
Well, that was a fun tangent. I enjoyed it. Back to the movie. The movie is just so good. The script, I think, may have one of the most airtight screenplays of the year. And I also think that honestly, I'm looking at my list here, I think this movie, even though it's at my number 10, does drama, the symbol of comedy and tragedy together, I think better than any other movie this year. It absolutely nails the tragedy and it absolutely nails the comedy, and it doesn't feel like it's tonally off, and that is quite the triumph.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with all of that. For my father's benefit, because he spent all of break complaining about how we didn't mention it when we recommended the movie.
Yeah.
The little donkey dies, so warning if you don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Bro, that was also my complaint. Every time, I swear to God, I don't know, you guys have heard me. Every single time you have put on a movie for me where a fucking animal dies, I turn to you and say, why didn't you tell me the animal dies?
I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
I need to know to
It's
mentally
a big
and emotionally
plot point.
prepare.
Yeah, no.
The Thing episode. Rip.
I also have to say that Colin Farrell is maybe my acting MVP of the year. I haven't even seen After Yang, but
I wanna
between
see that too.
his
Yeah,
work
same.
in Banshees of Inisherin and as the Penguin in The Batman, which if we had expanded our honorable mentions a little bit, that absolutely would be in there.
Yeah.
He just did phenomenal work this year, and Barry Keoghan as well.
Oh, that's,
So good.
for me, I will rewatch that movie just
Yeah.
so that I can see that sad man.
And I'm glad you brought that up really quickly.
I love sad boys.
Yeah, it's crazy how you're describing him as sad, but I could see you getting horny.
One thing I'm glad you brought up, Alexis, is the fact that you will rewatch Inisherin because sad boys make you horny. Well, as for my top 10, I will say that in order to be in my top 10, it has to be a movie that I look at and go, I want to rewatch that. So every single one of my top 10, and that's the thing, Banshees of Inisherin, it depressed me to hell, but I rewatched it, and I would watch it a third time.
Yeah.
It's really good. So that's one of my stipulations to be in my top 10, is it has to be a movie that I'm absolutely going to return to.
That's my stipulation for my top 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I tend to lean really heavy into dramas.
Yes, same.
So I cannot emotionally rewatch every single really good movie that I like.
That's fair.
Fair enough. Do we have anything else we'd like to say about Banshees?
I'm good.
All right, let's move on to our number 9.
Number 9, Alexis, take it away.
Let me place down my little
Her little
post-it note.
post-its over here.
Putting my post-its down in order. My number 9 is Babylon. I just saw it literally a couple days ago, and it was a lot.
We'll get into it.
Yeah. Do we want to table that? Is it on anybody else's list?
No,
My number
I haven't
9
seen it.
You haven't seen it?
My number 9 is Babylon by Damien Chazelle.
Wait. Okay.
I'm not even kidding. So we should not table that.
Okay, all right. Well, here we go.
And my number 9 is David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future.
Really?
That's the one that I want to see.
Yes.
I'm surprised.
I rewatched it recently.
Oh, did you?
Okay.
Yes.
Damn it. Maybe that's my problem. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
Because Zach and I, we saw this in theaters together back
Yes.
at what? Was it
March.
June?
March, I think.
That long ago?
It was a long ass time
I'm
Oh,
ago.
excited for the Brandon Cronenberg next year.
Oh
but-
yeah, Infinity
You
Pool.
need to watch Possessor.
Yes, I will.
So I'll just do my little spiel on Crimes of the Future now,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like Babylon's going to be the bigger point of discussion here, since you guys have it at the same rank.
But I have seen Crimes
of the Future,
Yeah, so
yes.
I can go off this.
I found Crimes of the Future to be a really fascinating amalgamation of discussions around bodily autonomy, what it means to be human, if you modify your body in a way that feels more comfortable to you. The ways that society will try to come down on that, like with a hammer. I found the discussions around our need to adapt to a ever more polluted world really interesting. And I found a lot of the examinations of both where does art come from, as well as sort of criticisms and a satire around the like high art, performance art world, all very, very entertaining. And it also features my favorite supporting actress performance of the entire year.
Yes. Oh, I forgot.
Kristen
Stewart is
as
so good
one
in
of
this.
my favorite little David Cronenberg freaks.
Yes.
I'm really excited to see the movie specifically for her performance.
And it's very good.
Is wonderful. I mean, obviously, Lea Seydoux, Viggo Mortensen, great, but she is so good.
You know what? I'm glad you're saying this because now that I think about it, I never thought I'd say this, but in a movie with Viggo Mortensen, Kristen Stewart is a scene stealer.
Yes.
She does. Anytime she's on screen, you're like, fuck, give me more of her. I love her.
Her delivery of surgery is the new sex, isn't it?
Well, so I'm glad you said that because in my review of Crimes of the Future, surgery is the new sex is both a line of dialogue in the film and also a perfect spoiler-free description of the movie.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's, I only saw it once and it came out in June, by the way.
Okay.
So that's how long ago it was. So I'm not as fresh on it. I enjoyed it, but I compared it to Crash, another Cronenberg film.
Yes.
Which is they're both movies that sexualize, in my mind, very non-sexual things. One is car accidents, the other is surgery.
Gotta love him. Gotta love that he's getting money from the Canadian government.
Oh, absolutely. And when I was in the theater with you, I remember seeing directed by David Cronenberg, and I remember thinking, God, how lucky are we that we still, in 2022, get to sit in a theater and see a new movie that says directed by David Cronenberg. That's great. I'm a big fan of his. But
I would have
comparing
loved to have been in the audience when Crash came out.
Well, so what I was going with that is Crash is weird and unsettling as it is, still somehow managed to be sexy.
Yeah.
Crimes of the Future, for me, there was never a point where I was like, damn, I'm bricked up. Meanwhile, Zack over here is looking quite stiff.
I think stiff in a different way.
Yeah. But
there were a few moments on a rewatch where I was like, it's a little sexy.
Yeah, it's just so
spicy.
It's very strange.
I will also just say that my number 10 and number 9 picks are probably the grossest movies on my list. So if you are squeamish, do not watch those.
Yeah.
Would you guys like to talk about Babylon?
Yes. Alexis, take it away.
Honestly, the trailer, while it's not misleading, the first 30 minutes are all what the trailer is.
Yeah.
So it's like there's nothing that was in the trailer that really kind of told you exactly what this story was really truly going to be.
In a 3-hour movie, no less.
Yeah.
So the first half hour, like, this is nothing.
Yeah.
There's so much more of this
It's
film.
really just like some setup, but mostly it's setting the scene of the age so that you understand how big of a change like is going to happen essentially, because you start within the silent movie era and then you move into the talkie era.
Yeah,
so,
I wrote in my review that it felt like Damien Chazelle pitched this as Singing in the Rain meets The Wolf of Wall Street, where it explores this golden era of Hollywood with all of the subtlety of a cast iron mallet. And that's not a complaint. It's just a vibe.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie gave me drip. That's how crazy it is. It's insane.
It is hedonistic to the point of like, it's like I ate a tub of fucking ice cream and my tummy is like so upset from how rich that fucking was. Because I was like, holy shit, did I really need to eat all of that? I don't know. It tasted good, but maybe not all of it tasted good.
Yeah, I will say, I will give it a little ding. I mean, it is very, very long, but out of the 3-hour films...
It's fucking graphic.
It's very graphic, and that's another thing. The trailer really sells it as this fun movie, and it absolutely is fun. And there were numerous moments for Alexis and I where we were laughing out loud much because of our inside knowledge of what it's like to actually work in the industry.
Oh,
if you work in the industry, specifically if you work either in the sound department, camera department, or AD department.
The AD department.
The AD department for sure. This movie is for you.
Wait. What did he say? He said, if anybody else fucks up this scene, I'm going to shit in your fucking mouth.
Yeah. And I remember I leaned over. I'm not going to say it. Never. I'm not going to say it. But,
No. But he said it was like working with somebody. He was like, isn't this like this one thing? And I was
this
like,
one person we've worked with.
Yes.
Yeah. And I also want to give a shout out to my
I think
favorite.
I know who you're talking about.
I want to give a shout out to, I think, my favorite original score of the year.
It's really good.
By, I'm so sorry.
I love some fucking horns, guys.
It's fantastic. But
I love
Justin,
a good brass section.
Justin Hurwitz.
Yeah.
I also, it's the secret sauce for music for me.
Yeah.
I love a horn section. I love a brass section. I love an orchestra.
Yeah.
And what Justin did with the music for this felt so of its era, so appropriate for the roaring 20s and 30s, yet completely original in its own thing.
Yeah. I mean, there is
It's so
definitely
great.
some electronic,
There is.
kind of EDM feels to it at points. I think
And-
to keep the energy up and
Yes.
make it modern. You know?
Margot Robbie continues.
Oh my God.
Continues
She's
to
a
remind
fucking
us
star.
why she is the talk of Tinseltown.
Yeah.
She's
a
so
fucking
good.
star.
It's unbelievable how good
Yeah.
she is. And I will say, if there was an Academy Award for most cursed performance, Tobey Maguire would win,
That's my boy.
and he
He
deserves
looked
to win.
So sickly. They were
my
taking
God.
ether in their fucking alcohol.
His portion of the movie actually made me feel frightened.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire in
I
this
kept
movie,
looking
folks.
at Mick like,
Oh, no.
what's gonna happen? I'm so scared.
Zach, watch Babylon. It's and here another thing. Sorry, one more thing I'll say is I don't understand why this movie's getting such lukewarm reactions. It's getting 55% of Rotten Tomatoes, and the audience reaction's like 60 something. This movie's better than that.
Well, between your guys' discussion of it and the fact that it has been so polarizing, that has made me want to see it way more than I found the trailer to just become very grating.
Yeah.
But the fact that it is inspired... Stop it. It's written in the stars. I am a star. I'm going to kill my... Anyway.
Hey, man.
But, yeah, between that and your guys' recommendation, I will definitely check it out.
Yeah.
In theaters, because you need to see this on the big
you really
screen.
got to see it on the big screen.
AMC Stoops.
Yeah. Okay, I have something else to kind of say about it.
Please
I really
do.
loved how they explored the relationship of people in the silent film industry and how when it progressed to the talkies, kind of how that relationship either evolved or disintegrated or morphed into a different type of capitalism, in some ways.
Yeah.
And also just how people who are at the top look down on, I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of the Sidney Palmer character where it's like, how do you reconcile being on screen but being looked down upon by everyone around you?
Yeah.
Because he's a black man.
Right.
Yeah. That was a fascinating storyline.
I love the story, his
Really
storyline.
good.
I thought it was well done.
Very well done. Yeah.
And I loved that of all of the characters, he was the one who had the most autonomy
Yes.
and the most, I wouldn't say integrity. He was the one who, he had the most integrity of everyone in the movie. Oh. He was the classiest character. So I loved that the black man storyline was the one that really truly had his own decision to make.
Yes, so. I'll add a piggyback onto that. Something that this movie does really, really well. I think the entire movie is basically about the allure of the extravagance of the film industry, specifically the partying.
Yeah.
And also exploring the vile, corrosive shadow that it casts and how it can really be very, very destructive to you as a human being. And the Sydney storyline is a great juxtaposition with the other storylines happening of what happens if you don't let it get to you. If you don't let it change who you are as a person. Even if you have moments of failings, but you put your foot down and you stay yourself. I don't want to go into it even more because you still need to watch it.
Yeah, the one other storyline that I really appreciated is that there is a queer storyline, and I think that it was well done and tasteful, and that was another character where it's like, oh, this is clearly a fucking lady, and she fucking knows it, and she's fucking hot.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
And the song?
Oh my god.
Man.
Yeah, you gotta see it. You gotta see it.
Well, let's keep chugging along. Let's get to our number 8 picks.
Right.
Speaking of chugging.
Sure.
Yeah, Alexis.
That doesn't go with mine, but okay.
It goes with mine.
All right, you go ahead.
All right, well, mine is All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh, good choice. Good choice. Mine is The Whale.
And mine is Ty West's X.
Okay.
Let's get into The Whale.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's also on my list.
The more I've thought about The Whale, the more I find it to be a pretty repugnant film.
Interesting.
I think that the script is incredibly stupid, lacks any sort of subtlety or real human emotion. I think that the character of Charlie is basically nothing on the page and only becomes something resembling a human being due to Brendan Fraser committing fully to that role. I, again, think that it's a bad adaptation of a single location play. Although I imagine if I saw the play, I would still have the same problems with the script. And I think it makes a spectacle of Charlie's condition. The shot where he opens a drawer and looks at a granola bar, closes it, and then opens a drawer full of candy, plays like a fucking sight gag, and it sucks. Bad movie, bad you.
I don't... if I may, Alexis.
Sure.
My retort is I don't agree with the criticism.
Crazy how it's
I
in your
don't
top
agree
10 and
with
you don't agree when it's in my bottom 10.
I don't agree with the criticism that it is that basically it's taking... I've heard people say that it's fat shaming, essentially. And it's making a spectacle out of this disability. And I see where you're coming from. I do. But I think the movie is very much about, as we discussed, about honesty. And I think the movie takes a very honest view of that disability to the point of very, very uncomfortable details. Very, very uncomfortable sequences. And that thing of him opening, that scene of him opening the drawer, not wanting to go with the granola bar and then going with the candy bar instead, it was just another little character moment for me, again, of a guy who wants to do the best thing, but he just can't because of his disability and because of his addiction to this. And it's a movie about addiction as much as a lot of other stuff.
I agree. I think it's one of the worst movies about addiction I've ever seen.
I think it doesn't look at the issue through rose-colored lenses. I think it takes a very honest look at it.
Honest is maybe the last word I would use to describe The Whale.
That's amazing to me because I mean his performance might be one of my favorites of the year, hands down. Brendan Fraser is. I mean, I wept so much watching this film and watching his performance. It's just, I mean, it's tearing me up just thinking about it. It was so good. I will give you this, that I think had Brendan Fraser not been in it, I don't think the movie would have worked very well.
No.
This is also where I will cede ground. It's not one of my favorite performances of the year.
Yeah.
That plummets even further down my list of movies I watched last year if Brendan Fraser is not in the lead role.
Yeah.
Do you hear the thing about how Tom Ford was thinking about directing that?
Yeah,
and
with
James
Corden. Oh my god, yeah.
That sounds fucking
Talk about
horrible.
cursed. Talk about
Oh my
cursed.
god. I'm really glad that, okay, here's my thing. I'm glad that Darren Aronofsky was the one who did this movie. Because Darren Aronofsky, I've seen a lot of his movies, and he always does movies that have some element of what appropriate society would consider body horror. whether or not that is something to do with self-harm, in the form of actual like physical self-harm, or addiction in the form of drugs, or in this form, the addiction in the form of self-harm of food. And I did find it to be honest, because I have had an eating disorder before. I have had moments where like and that was, for me, I think I empathized with him, because I was like, when he was just eating and eating because he felt so bad, I was like, oh, I've done that before. Like, I've put stuff into my mouth, and then because like in a moment it made me feel good because it was sweet or it was salty or something, and then I kept eating it and it no longer felt good, but I kept doing it until like I threw up, you know? So it's like I watched it and I was like, yeah, that's kind of real, you know? The way that it's portrayed and the way that it is real. And I think the reason why the movie works for me is because if you think about body horror in the way of Cronenberg, it's not exactly the same. But if you think about body horror in the ways of like what people consider what is appropriate, and the fact that so many societies are fat phobic, somebody who is this size would be considered horrific or disgusting to them, you know, and which is also touched on a lot in the movie. I don't know.
It was so devastating. It was just so heartbreaking.
Yeah, I don't think that it treats Charlie like a human being, and
well, a lot of the characters don't either.
Well, I don't think the director thinks he's a human being either. I personally...
But it was such a humane performance.
I'm 1 for 3 on Aronofsky, personally.
This was my first and only film I've seen of his.
I've seen 3. I've seen this, Mother, and Black Swan. Black Swan's the only one I've enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm not excited to watch Mother, from what I've heard.
Seen Mother, I've seen Black Swan, and I've seen... why can't I think of it? Requiem for a Dream. And probably when I was in like middle school, high school, Requiem for a Dream was like one of my favorite movies.
I still need to see that.
So the score is just so beautiful. But it's like, I think that in having seen all of those movies, I recognize a lot of what Aronofsky like tends to kind of lean towards in his movies. So I think that in that way, like it contextualized like, oh, I'm so glad that I saw this movie, because it's just like another reason why I really like him as a director.
Yeah. I'm glad
I
it was
really
my
think
first
he's
one of his.
An actor's director. He really, to me, I think he pulls really incredible performances out of the people that he works with, even sometimes to the detriment, possibly, of their psyche. Because in Mother, Jennifer Lawrence has said that she will never do another scene like the last scene that is in Mother. And when you watch Mother, it is so fucking horrendous that it's like you are left with this big ick for so long afterwards. Like you can't... It's just like it's taking the worst parts of like human beings and just putting it out there, you know? And that's kind of what I like about his movies, is he tends to just like not really sugarcoat that this is just kind of how life is sometimes. But the reason why I think that he does treat him as like a person is that the fucking crow or the bird that he keeps feeding on the outside, to me, that's like, this is somebody who wants to care for something, who is a caring person, but keeps everything at a distance from behind a window or from behind a door. And that is exactly how he treats pretty much everybody in his life, except for his friend. What is her name?
Actress's name is Hong Chow.
Yeah, Liz.
Which, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to say, loved her performance. Yeah. She was one of my favorite parts of The Menu, and her performance in this, I loved her character. Yeah. I loved her acting. I see you gritting your teeth, because I think you're going to talk about how they're playing to the...
I've been the Hong Chow hater this year, and I feel bad.
I really liked her... Yeah, I already said I really liked her performance. I don't agree with what some people are saying, which is that it's very theatrical acting, which is they're playing to the nosebleed section.
They are.
I didn't get that. Mm-hmm. It all just felt very sincere. You know, when you have a heated conversation with someone that you care about so much, there's going to be shouting, and there's going to be hot emotions. But in every single hot emotion, just felt like there was such sincerity at the foundation of it all.
I think it played honestly for me because it felt like a conversation that you've had many, many, many times. And like, I felt about it the way that I feel with my mom, which is that sometimes I really feel like I can't help but raise to this fucking 150% level immediately, because it's like, we fucking talked about this. Don't fucking bring that up. And like, I really have to actively like work to not get to that point, because it's like, some way I have a little, I used to have like a bit more of a toxic relationship with my mom. Clearly this woman's relationship with Charlie is a little toxic because she is, enabling him and letting him kind of,
the meatball subs. Yeah, honestly, I'm almost got emotional just now talking about it. It was such a heartbreaking film.
I think we should probably move on.
Yeah,
I just want one last note is that I would love to see Sadie Sink do something other than the angry teenager thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, same.
I think she could be a really good actress. I just really want to see her do something other than what I've already seen her do.
And
in
I think
Stranger
she will.
Things.
I think she
definitely.
will. I'm excited to see what that is.
She's so young, but I'm excited to see her move on from that.
Okay, Alexis, yours was your number 8 was
All Quiet on the Western Front,
which we've discussed a little bit on the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this movie.
I don't have like a shit ton of stuff to say about it. I always enjoy a movie that makes you kind of consider the point of view of other people that weren't on the right side of history. Like, I really love Grave of the Fireflies because it's kind of like a snapshot of like children within like rural Japan during World War II. And shit was not good. Unlike Britain, I mean, obviously they also got bombed and stuff, but in Japan, most of their houses were wooden, so shit just fucking went up in flames.
Yeah.
Everything. And these are just, villages. And it's kind of the same vibe that I get in like All Quiet on the Western Front, where it's just like, oh, yep. I mean, we all know that you guys are the baddies of World War I and World War II, but a lot of the soldiers are just fucking kids that have been raised to be nationalists who think that the motherland is the be-all, end-all. And really, it gave me the same vibe as Cold Mountain when the guys they're going off to war and they're like, don't worry, we'll be back in a month.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens in All Quiet on the Western Front. They're like, no worries, it's going to be maybe a year.
Right.
And then it turns into like the worst few years of like these people's lives. And they literally accomplish nothing. They fight over the same like 400 feet of fucking land for years. Yeah. And people get, I don't know, I think it's just like the trench foot and like the walls collapsing in on people, I think was like whatever practical effects that they did were really, really good.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And just in general, it's just like seeing somebody who realizes over time, oh, war is not what I thought it was going to be. There is no glory in losing all of my childhood friends. Yeah. There is no glory in going toe-to-toe with somebody and being forced over a trench into open warfare. There's no glory in it, but now I volunteered for it and I'm stuck here. And now it's like you have to just live with the fact that I was so excited to do something that I've realized was such a fucking big mistake, So I really liked it. I love seeing things from other people's points of view, So. Yeah,
I did see it. I think it's a good choice. The only good war films are anti-war.
Yeah.
And this movie absolutely has that in spades. It's also, I think, probably one of the best war films to come out in at least the last 5 years.
Yeah, I would also say that.
It's just so well done mechanically. The sequences are amazing and horrifying. it does not shy away from, you said, like the trench foot, the mustard gas. I mean, it was horrible. The war of attrition was just so horrendous. Really, really good film that I wish I had seen on the big screen. I don't know if it ever did play in theaters.
I don't think it did. It came through Netflix.
But, good film.
My other point was that I would actually really like to rewatch 1917 because for 1917, it's like the big thing was the mechanics of the shots. And I don't think that the story is as interesting once you already are kind of wowed by the mechanics of the movie. Whereas I think that All Quiet on the Western Front really is.
It does it better, I think.
Yeah. So.
Well, X fucking rules, guys. I don't know what to say.
Well, actually,
we've been talking about some.
That's
pretty
my number
heavy.
7. So
there we go.
Let's fucking get into it.
Let's talk X. I loved X. I saw X with both of my co-hosts.
That's
here.
right.
Yes.
And
all the way back in March?
Yeah,
I think it was March.
It might have been. Yeah. I don't think I have cackled in a theater as much with other people in a maybe. I can't think of another time. It's such a pure expression of love for the two true genres that created the American independent cinema: horror and porno.
Yep. It's true. It is
actually true because a lot of the silent movies were very graphic in some way.
Well, yeah,
very pornographic,
and the American new wave of the 70s, a lot of that
very pornographic.
Were porno movies like fucking Deep Throat
the
or
exploitation films of the 40s and 50s were all they were booby pictures.
Yeah.
They were horror or sci-fi B films.
Okay, side note really quick, which is why I think that Babylon is so interesting because you get the fucking gratuitous fucking hedonistic world of the silent pictures and then you move into fucking moral code 30s.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
So
it's I loved X. I will be talking about X later on in this conversation.
It's something we've all got overlap on.
It's so good. I wrote in my review, I don't even need to look it up because I remember when I wrote it, I said, sometimes a movie comes out that feels like it was made for you. And that's how I felt watching X. I was like, Ty West, did you just make this for me? Because it feels like everything I ever need or want ever in a movie. It's so good. It's hilarious. It's frightening. It's fun. It's about movie making.
Yeah.
I mean, do I have to go on? X is just so good. If you think about
it, X could possibly be part of the film major's origin story because I think this was actually the first movie that we went to see all together after all of us have moved to LA.
That's true.
So, and because I remember sitting in the theater and just kind of sitting next to you guys and being like, oh, I've never really gone to the movies with Zack and Mick before. I've always just gone with Mick, He was always my fucking movie buddy when we were in college.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh shit.
That was fun.
And then it was just all of us kind of whispering to each other, cracking little tiny jokes in between.
Because the movie just kept giving us everything we wanted.
It really did.
And let's not forget that there was a very, very graphic sex scene with Kid Cudi, which, oh my God, he's so good.
Okay, as his name, Jackson Hole.
And as Jackson Hole is doing his thing, a little child in the theater runs from her parent down the hallway. And I remember looking over at Alexis and Zack. I was like, please tell me that was a dwarf. Because I don't think it was. Why is there a 6-year-old girl in this
cannot bring
film?
a 6-year-old to X.
And she seemed like she was having a good time, which is even worse.
Oh, yeah. Okay, but for me, one of the best parts was our discussion of Jackson's featured background, which was Jackson's dick.
Oh, yes.
Yes. That was, I don't know if that was all Kid Cudi or not, but holy shit.
Swing low, sweet chariot.
It's more like Kid Uncuddy.
Hey.
So I want to just say why I have this in my top 10 over Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the thing that just makes X a little more near and dear to my heart is I think it has one of the best ensemble casts of the year.
I love Brittany Snow in this.
Yeah,
Hands
beyond
down.
Mia Goth, who's phenomenal doing a double role as Maxine and Pearl, Jenna Ortega.
So good.
Turning in another great like scream queen performance.
Yeah.
Brittany Snow is hysterical
She's
as
fucking hilarious.
like the porn leading lady.
What's the name of the guy who played the sound mixer twat?
Owen Campbell.
Oh, he was good too. I love
but
to hate him.
The man that I want to bring
yes.
up is Martin Henderson as the producer of this venture, who owns a titty bar, and
Amazing.
so many great lines.
And I love how the movie gives it. I want to talk about it more later because you know why I'm going to talk about it later. But I love how the movie basically tells you what's going to happen later on in the movie with the opening shot of the mural on the side of the titty bar.
Yeah.
It depicts a scene that happens later.
Why aren't we just going to discuss it
Yeah,
now?
I feel like we should get our conversation
Just get out now.
because it's Alexis's number 7.
my number
This takes
7,
us right
so-
into
Oh, okay,
number 7.
great. Okay,
so
yeah.
Alexis, your number 7 is X. Let's continue.
Yeah, great. Go on, Mick. What were you going to say?
It's just so fantastic. And it's also the movie that got 2022 rolling.
Yeah.
This was the movie that got the ball rolling, and again, we've said it already, we'll say it again, 2022 was a great year for movies, and X was the first one.
Yeah.
X marks the spot, and it
Marks the G-spot.
It's just, it's so, oh god. And also Mia Goth playing 2 different performances was incredible.
I haven't seen somebody do that in a while.
Yeah,
So
it was great. I mean, pretty much this and Eddie Murphy and Norbert.
Yeah, and this is definitely
Norbit,
better.
you Philistine.
How are you doing?
Milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
I told you I got kicked out of school once because I kept saying "How you doing" too much.
Yeah,
You have
did
not
tell
told me
you
that.
told
I was obsessed with that movie.
Do we have anything else to say about X?
I mean,
I think this movie really kicked off like, oh, I actually love going to the movies with the boys.
Yeah.
And I contemplated whether or not this was going to be on my top 10. Like, it came in and out of my top 10 a couple times. It was always going to be on my featured,
Right.
my honorable mentions. But, like, it came in and out of my top 10 a couple times. But then I was like, you know what? See, for me, if it's not necessarily totally about, like, something that has like really serious subject matter and that I really, really loved, it has to be about the experience of watching it and it being so enjoyable that I was like, wow, that was fucking fun.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of like this kickoff to a hedonistic year.
it really was. I mean,
And it's another movie about making movies.
it is.
The movies.
This was the year about making movies. There are so many movies about making movies, and this was one of the best ones, X. And another thing about it that is so great, speaking of kicking or getting the ball rolling, was this started A24's first quote-unquote franchise.
Yeah.
This was the one that got it going, and it is paying homage to the slasher, low-budget slasher genre that basically was perfected in the 70s and 80s. And I love it when a movie pays homage to a genre and does such a good job that it ends up standing on its own merit as good as anything else from the era that it's paying homage to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's as good as Texas Chainsaw.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it isn't.
It is.
No, it isn't.
It is.
It's not. He's
Don't look
wrong.
at me like I'm going to argue.
No,
I don't give
I know.
a fuck.
He's wrong, though, and
No,
I just
I'm
want
right.
our listeners to know that he's wrong.
I didn't say it was better. I said it was as good.
It's not.
All right. Well, I really loved in X the tie-in between the evangelical Christian. Obviously, I don't really want to give away the ending of the movie, but the line, I will not accept a life that I do not deserve. The fact that is Maxine's essentially kind of like, I don't know, what would you say? Her daily affirmation?
Her ethos.
Yeah. The fact that ties into like the evangelical Christianity that you've kind of seen pop up here and there to kind of like contextualize the morality of the time and people. I really like that.
Well, I think we should move on because we're running up to the 2-hour mark and we got a lot to talk
Yeah,
about.
we've been in this for a while.
It's okay. We're
So
gonna
what's
wait.
your other 7?
Number 7, Mick, yours.
Pearl.
And my number 7, we can talk about Pearl because we've already talked about my number 7, which is The Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh, okay, great.
Pearl.
Yours is X, right?
Mine was X.
Okay, Pearl. You have both already listed it. It was your number what?
Pearl is my number 14.
And yours was?
It was just an honorable mention.
It's an honorable mention.
Yeah.
Okay, so honorable mentions for you guys. I didn't love Pearl as much as X, but I could not get it out of my head. It was so tenacious, and I watched it twice in theaters, and I really, really liked it the second way in, and I gotta say, out of all of the shots of the year, I think the one that sticks with me the most might be the ending shot of Pearl. That close-up of Mia Goth was so terrifying to me. I found it frightening to see an actor put so much of themselves into not blinking that they begin to cry while smiling. It was just so unsettling, and also it's just so beautiful. From beginning to end, the movie's so beautiful. It's shot so wonderfully. That beautiful shot of Pearl on the bike at night going through the cornfield, and you have this blue mist rising up from the cornfield, and you see her in that red dress, and it's just, I gotta quote him, but or paraphrase Martin Scorsese saying that the person who made this clearly loves cinema, and I think that's just so evident. Because in a way, I mean, this also, like X, is about making movies. This is about a woman who wants to be a star. Her dance number is so fantastic because it gives you backstory to the dance that happens in X. For those of you living under a rock, Pearl is the sequel to X. And I just thought it's so good.
It's kind of like a prequel.
Yeah.
Did
or
I?
as the...
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, it's
origin
It's
story.
a prequel.
As the poster said, an extraordinary origin.
An extraordinary
Which is
origin
also
story.
apparently what the filmmakers had.
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, we talked about Pearl already. That's my number 7. I just think it's a fantastic addition into a franchise that was started just 6 months before that.
Yeah.
I just love Mia Goth so much. She is an icon. She is the moment.
Yeah, she really, I mean, there's a lot of Jonathan Majors going on, but there's a lot of Mia Goth going on right now, and thank God for that.
Yeah.
Well said.
Oh, yeah, because she's going to be in the Cronenberg movie next year.
That's right. Which
And
talk
with
about a
Alexander
great
Skarsgård.
pairing.
The Brandon Cronenberg movie.
My almost second, I think he might be my second favorite Skarsgård now.
Scared.
Skarsgård.
Which one's your second favorite?
Alexander.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
My favorite used to be Alexander when he was in True Blood,
Yeah,
but
but
now
now-
it's Bill
Yeah,
because
Bill
I'm like,
Skarsgård.
there's just something about Bill.
I'm with you. Bill's fantastic.
Do we want to move on to our number 6?
Let's do
Sure.
it.
All right.
Alexis?
We already talked about it. Mine is The Whale.
Okay. Mine is The Fablemans.
And mine is Todd Field's Tar.
Oh, okay. Great.
What would we like? We could get into The Fablemans, because The Fablemans is going to appear later on my list.
Okay. Great. Yeah, The Fablemans. I saw it last week or this week. I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
This week.
This week. Thank you. And golly, great time.
Yeah.
Really, really good time. It was hilarious. It was so sincere and heartfelt. And it's another movie about making movies, folks. This movie just took me back to my childhood as someone who wanted to make movies. I grabbed Alexis during a point in this film because the scene where he's making his little World War II picture and they put a piece of wood down and put some dust on it in a hole.
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because
It's a neat trick.
I watched the behind the scenes of Saving Private Ryan when I was a kid, and Steven Spielberg talked about how this is what we did when I was a kid, and I was like, oh my God, that's great.
In the words of Matthew McConaughey, time is a flat circle.
Time on a flat surface. By Lincoln. And also, I mean, this movie just felt, I don't know, it's another thing I connected to so much because my father is really big into model trains, and I used to play with model trains as a kid. I used to frame it with my little cell phone. I used to put my cell phone on top of one of the train cars, and it would go around, and it made me feel inspired, which is a big thing. If a movie can make you feel inspired, it made me feel inspired. I thought it was such a, again, sincere look at his own family dynamic. Not only is it a love letter to the film industry, not the industry, but just making movies, it's also a love letter to his own family and understanding them and understanding where they were coming from. And it just, God, if I was a Spielberg family member and I saw this, I'd be like, God damn it, dude, you did such a good job.
I am maybe going to push back on that a little bit.
Oh, really?
Because on my first viewing, I 100% was like, yeah, this is a love letter to making movies. Mm-hmm. I think that what makes The Fabelmans so fucking compelling for me is that it's a filmmaker whose natural instincts are to make the most entertaining, crowd-pleasing blockbusters possible.
Yep.
Like, he invented the blockbuster. And
Yep.
obviously he's waded into more morally gray, murky territory. Mm-hmm. And I think that The Fabelmans, on a rewatch, is a really interesting examination of whether or not it's worth it to make those kinds of sacrifices to make art. Because, well, he can't, like, I think the movie wants you to come away feeling like, well, yeah, you don't owe anyone your life. If you can't do anything other than this, you have to do it. But it has a cost, and
Yes.
you are potentially an incredibly selfish person for those sacrifices that you make along the way. Like, the shot in that movie where Sammy Fabelman visualizes himself filming his parents' divorce in the mirror is like so telling and so gutting for me.
Yeah.
And I think it's such an interesting movie about a guy whose instincts are always going to be to make the most perfectly framed, entertaining shit imaginable, looking at those instincts and where they come from, and examining if that's a good thing or not. And I think I come away, and I think Spielberg comes away, being like, I don't really know.
Yeah. I think there's something very interesting about exploring whether or not your interest in the drama of, say, for instance, your own family can be considered exploitation. Because I think in that moment, I think he honestly might be a little horrified that was his instinct.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like he was horrified that was his instinct, because he recognizes that this is my first instinct is to want to film this. And to me, I felt like, it's because family drama is always the most fucking interesting thing about movies sometimes, you know? And there's a certain level of spectacle and exploitation in that.
It's a defense mechanism, I think, because a lot of times photographers who have to take pictures of really horrible things have talked about how the lens in front of them acts as a barrier between reality and and it's a protective thing. And that's, I kind of think where he's coming from is like, look, this is such a difficult conversation. Well, you know where I'm going. Go ahead.
So the very first thing that he ever films is the train, right? Yeah. And the mother says that, I understand why he's filming it now. He's trying to get control of it. And I think that perhaps maybe that might be kind of a flashback to that. Yeah. The scene, his first instinct is to want to record this because he wants to take control of something that probably feels a little out of control for him. Yeah. So I thought that was very, I liked it.
And I am my parents got divorced as well when I was a teenager, not as young as he was, but I was in high school. And I remember...
Well, Spielberg was in high school when it happened.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Yeah. So it was the same time. So there you go. So that was another reason I related to the movie, is because it's just, how do you, as a kid, how do you navigate this? Honestly, how do you navigate your family coming apart? Because that should never fall on a child. And it's just so tragic when a child has to deal with that. And I thought the way he went about it through creativity and through art was just, again, a very inspiring film. And it just had so much heart to it. Yeah. This movie has such heart. And it's beautiful.
It also has two of the funniest scenes of the year for me.
Yes. I know what one of them is.
It's a really poignant scene, but Spielberg, his surrogate character, Sammy Fabelman, shooting the beach movie humiliating his bullies and sending one of them into an existential crisis.
Yeah.
like, that's great within the narrative, but then when you get the scene with him talking to his one bully and the other bully getting hit, it's like, motherfucker's doing it again. It's like 50 years later, he's double dipping. He's humiliating these dudes.
But the way he was like, "Oh, don't worry, I won't put it in a movie," and then you're like,
"I know." I laughed out loud.
Yeah, no, it's don't tell anyone about this. I won't. Unless I make a movie about it.
And look where we are.
That shit was
that was great.
And then the scene with him and his Christian girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Where you widen out to see her shrine to guys that is like pictures of Elvis and Jesus.
I was so unwell.
Yeah.
I was so
that was an uncomfortable
unwell.
scene.
I was
but
just
hilarious.
Like, it was fucking hilarious, but I was like, dear Lord, please help this girl.
Well, the scene I thought you were going to mention is the end, which has one of my 2 favorite cameos of the whole year. We've already talked about the other one, Hugh Grant in Glass Onion, and this one, which is David Lynch playing John Ford in the end scene. And honestly, this has another one of my favorite last shots of the whole year.
It might be my favorite.
It's a good shot,
cute.
but it's a gag.
Yeah.
Where it's honestly,
where's the horizon, guys?
Where's the horizon? The last shot was boring as shit until it wasn't. Yeah. Because it did that quick tilt up. I was like,
that does look better.
I clapped. I was like, that is how you end a movie there.
Can we transition into my number 6? Because I think this is a good segue.
Go for it.
Okay, we're out of the Fablemans now? Okay.
We can return to it.
Okay, well, we'll return to it.
I want to segue up because speaking of movies with endings that are gags, the final shot of Tar is hysterical. She finally has...
with the Comic-Con thing?
Yes, she's had this piece of music in her head the whole movie, and she's been destroying lives as this, like, just absolute force of nature, powerful composer and conductor. And where does she end up? Giving her virtuoso performance at a weird Comic-Con in Malaysia. I found Lydia Tarr to be one of the most compelling characters on screen this year. Yeah. The beginning of the movie is definitely slow, but I think it allows the audience to kind of be seduced by Tar and buy into her as this indispensable artist, so that when we see the layers peeled back on who she really is and what she really does, we get to have an actually nuanced conversation about what we lose when talented artists who are abusers are taken out of their industry, and rightfully so. But, I found it to be such a compelling movie. And also, Todd Field is really good as Nick Nightingale in Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
Nice.
I have a few things to say on Tar. It was part of my honorable mentions. Fucking love Cate Blanchett. Marry me, please.
I think it's one of the best performances of the year, and she deserves the Oscar for it.
Yeah.
She does. I can't think
I don't
of
know.
another actress
I don't know
that gets
that.
close.
I don't know that
I can, but she's not going to be nominated.
Okay. All right. So I also agree that for me, I know that Mick disagrees with this, but the opening, like the first 10 to 15 minutes was a little boring for me. Mm-hmm. But I do think that it sets the tone for her as a character really well, because it's kind of like having an unreliable narrator where it's like, here I am, I'm going to tell you exactly what it is you need to think about me. And then you get to see all of that perception of her unravel as it goes on. You realize she's kind of a piece of shit. But I did see an interesting take of this on TikTok where somebody was talking about that this actually isn't really necessarily like a movie about abusers in the way that you kind of think it is, because if she were a man, she probably would have been protected, but it's because she is a woman, despite being a person who is in a position of privilege. I'm not necessarily saying that I agree with this, but I thought it was an interesting take, that despite being a person who is a white, female identifying lesbian, being in a certain power and a certain position of privilege, she still is in competition with other men and other people who do want to take her spot. And so there may not be the protection that other white men necessarily would have gotten to.
I can see that aspect. I think personally the significance of Tar being a woman is so we can have sort of a more nuanced look at that sort of abuse, because like we know what that, I mean, I think Cate Blanchett has literally said, like, we know what men in power taking advantage of that power looks like.
Yeah.
And when you remove the male aspect of it, you get a cleaner look at what it means to exploit power.
Yeah.
Like, purely.
I agree with that, too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wasn't saying that I necessarily, like...
No,
I think that's an interesting take.
Yeah. I heard it and I was just like, huh, you know what? Now that you kind of contextualize that, I could see a little bit of that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Alexis, your number 6?
My number 6 was The Whale. We already talked about it.
Okay, sweet.
Number 5.
My
number 5 is Barbarian.
Ooh.
And I feel like I don't need to talk about it. If you guys want to hear about Barbarian, we talk about it pretty fucking in depth in our episode 3.
Episode 3.
Episode 3, which is
our
probably
best performing episode.
It's probably
You've probably heard it, folks.
It's probably my favorite episode.
Yeah. Same.
So I just think, what was it? It was the jokes about me dying. That's where that started.
Yep.
That's right. Tiny Tim Alexis, right?
Actually, it started
in our lost episode.
But we continued it in Barbarian.
Good for us.
So great. All right, go ahead.
Number 5, right?
Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick.
All right. Hell yeah. That would have been in my honorable mentions, but there were just so many good movies this year. My number 5 is Jane Schoenbrun's We're All Going to the World's Fair.
Okay.
I have
not seen that.
Not seen that.
You might end up seeing it.
Okay.
Okay.
We're All Going to the World's Fair, if I can just jump into this.
Sure.
Is,
so cryptic.
A really, really interesting deep dive into what it's like to be a lonely, isolated teen on the internet, trying to find connections, the danger that brings. Essentially, it's about a teenage girl playing a, horror role-playing game online with a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
I think it's just such a fascinating examination of, that loneliness and the dark places that loneliness can lead. The director, Jane Schoenbrun, is genderqueer, and they have stated that it is 100% also about the trans experience, which I would love to do some more reading about.
Okay.
I found the ending of We're All Going to the World's Fair to be the scariest moment in any movie I've seen in years. I love horror. I am a horror fiend.
Yeah.
There will be more horror movies on this list later.
Yeah.
But none of them unsettled me to my core the way the end of We're All Going to the World's Fair
Is
does.
this a horror film?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It is a psychological horror film, and it is brutally upsetting, and I think that if I was doing the Best Actress nominations, Anna Cobb would be winning.
Oh, okay.
Because the entire movie rests on her shoulders, and she delivers. And this is coming from someone, the movie is largely, takes place on cameras that the characters have. It is largely found footage.
I'll be honest, I don't think I've even heard of this movie.
I really often do not like found footage movies. I was enraptured with We're All Going to the World's Fair.
Interesting.
Jane Schoenbrun has another movie coming out this year through A24 called, I believe it's called I Saw the TV Glow, and I cannot wait for it. They are doing incredibly exciting stuff.
I think I know why you said he might end up watching. Anyways, okay.
Yep.
This is listed as a 2021 movie.
It's a 2022 release.
Is it?
Yeah, Letterboxd has a few of those. Mad God is also listed as 2021.
Gotcha.
It's a 2022
Okay,
release.
well, I'm adding it to my watch list.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Well, I'm sold.
Yeah, no, you've talked me into it easily.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Mick,
Yes.
take us into the danger zone.
Top Gun Maverick, guys. It's Brandy Palmer again. Hello, everybody.
No.
Top Gun Maverick, look, I'll be honest.
All bricked up for those fucking planes.
I really am. But I'll be honest. Most of the movies that we've all talked about are better than Top Gun Maverick. Like, just objectively. They're better movies than Top Gun Maverick. I mean, you rewatch Top Gun Maverick and it's, I mean, you know, the plot is, you know, pretty schlocky. It's not going to make you really feel anything that much.
Can I make some notes really quick?
Sure.
Okay. No, go ahead. Finish your
I was going to say, but when it comes to movie-going experiences in the theater this year, it's hard to beat Top Gun Maverick. I mean, it really was a lifeline, it feels like, for the theater industry, where honestly, it might be one of my favorite success stories of the whole year in terms of how much money this movie made.
Oh, yeah.
This is not a Marvel picture. It is not an Avatar picture. It is not a Star Wars picture.
Hey, don't love Avatar in with that
almost
shit.
the whole fucking year.
And it's fantastic that people went and kept seeing it. It's amazing. I am a big Tom Cruise fan. I know that might rub some people the wrong way, but seeing him do what he does so well, which is just make a masterful audience experience, and this movie just delivered. It was so much better than it had any right to be. And to just the opening where they recreated the intro to the original was just so good. To see the Jerry Bruckheimer, Don Simpson logo with that music, it just, you know, I talk about how nostalgia isn't necessarily a good thing, but man, I was at the teat of nostalgia for this one, and it was fantastic. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. It just is. It's not, you know, not going to win any awards, but I just loved it.
Honestly.
I loved it. It was just so good.
It's probably going to be up for Best Picture.
You know what? And it made me cry on the first watch. On rewatches, it does not make me cry. But yeah, it's a really good picture. I really, really enjoyed it. What's Alexis? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so listen, Top Gun, the original movie, is like one of my dad's favorite movies. I've seen that movie a few times. My thing with Top Gun Maverick is that if you didn't have the last 30 minutes, this movie would be unsalvageable. Because
interesting.
Yes, because the last 30 minutes really fucking ties it all together. There's parts of the movie that look like it is shot as a commercial, especially the parts that are in the bar. I was just like, what is going on with these close-ups of fucking Jennifer Connelly? It looks like a fucking commercial, just like the way that it's like lit.
Yeah.
And also I was just like, okay, I get it. We have to have a romantic lead for some reason, but I really wanted to learn more about fucking Rooster. Like, I wanted to have that relationship fleshed out more. We all love Goose. We all mourned Goose, okay? Yeah. So what the fuck? Why didn't we get more of the actual relationship between Maverick and Rooster? See, the thing is that I really liked the movie. You know I really liked the movie, okay? I had strong feelings about liking the movie. But for me, it was like, there was so much more that I was like, well, I'm kind of let down by what it probably kind of could have been in some other ways. I'm like, the fucking plane shots are incredible. The picture car is fucking hot.
Porsche 911 Carrera.
The ensemble cast is fun. There's guys and girls fucking playing volleyball. We all wanted a volleyball scene,
They're playing football.
Hangman
Whatever.
Hangman was
Glenn Powell.
Hangman was a sexual awakening for me. I gotta say, I love him so much.
You've gotta stop having those during movies, man.
I thought that was your line for me.
Both of you.
We are indecent. Public disturbance. Well, you're the main public disturbance. Alexis, I have no retort to what you said. I completely agree with you. But the movie, again,
I get it. Though.
I just enjoyed it so much that it had to be in my top 5.
I'm like, I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
But I was just like, the first 2/3 of the movie, I was like, all right, is this gonna be better than Top Gun? I can't really tell. And then the last 30 minutes came and I was like, holy shit, that was fucking exciting.
And here's the thing.
I'm revved up.
You know how the movie is going to go. You know what happens. The Dark Star sequence in the beginning, the test plane.
Sounds like Star Wars.
It does. But
it's a lot like Star Wars.
The test sequence in the beginning, you know how it's going to end.
Yeah.
But it still works. On a rewatch, you're still on the edge of your seat. And yes, he would have been utterly obliterated as soon as he ejected out of that.
Oh, who gives a shit?
I'm with you, though. I'm completely. I don't give a shit either.
Shut the fuck up, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
That's where I got that from.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, fun police.
So yeah. But another part that I loved was the where Maverick shows his pilots that the mission can be done. Where he takes his plane out and he does it in front of them. Everyone watches it on the screen. God, the sound design, the cinematography with the aerial photography, because I'm with you, it is lit like a Ford commercial. It has so many flaws, but it's just so near and dear to my heart that it's one of my favorites of the year.
No.
Wonderful.
Great.
That's all I have to say.
Number
four, let's do it.
My number 4 is The Fabelmans.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, okay, my number 4 is SS Rajamouli's RRR.
Oh, wow.
Hey.
That's up
And
there.
by the way, my number 3 is The Fabelmans.
Okay, great.
Nice. My number 4 is Women Talking.
I missed that. All right, you guys, please, Women Talking. Did you see it, Alexis?
I
you saw
did.
it?
It's
Okay.
on my
That's it.
list.
Okay.
I think out of every movie that came out this year, I think Women Talking is the most important of the year. I think it is required viewing for everyone, arguably especially men should watch this because you need to hear and heed the conversations that are had in this film. I'm already tearing up. This movie was so powerful. Oh my God. I cried from beginning to end. It was one of the most powerful conversation pieces I've ever, I think, witnessed. I put in my review that if you are a fan of 12 Angry Men, you're going to love Women Talking because it's about people who are sitting down to discuss what to do after a crime has taken place. And it's just so powerful, and it's so devastating, and it's so inspiring, but also not inspiring. It's also a warning. And I think, Alexis, you should say more than I should, but it's just so good.
Alexis is shaking her head over there.
She doesn't want to say more.
I'm not going to say my piece until later.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we can move on.
Let's table it. Let's table it.
I'd like to talk about
loved it.
RRR real quick because we're both we can have our Fablemans discussion take us back into number 3.
Okay, great.
I loved RRR. RRR is the supersized action masterpiece of the year.
Best pirate film of the year.
Oh my God.
Arr.
It is not a pirate film. It is a work of historical fan fiction, positing a scenario where two revolutionaries from India's past actually met, and oh, by the way, they were both superhuman dance machines who can
Beefed up besties.
They're gods.
beefed up bestie boys
Beefed up
who
bestie
can
boys.
chuck a motorcycle at a British officer.
Yeah.
The point that I made in my review,
I haven't finished it yet.
the point that I made in my review that Mick was touching on that I really wanted to say is that the British in this movie are depicted exactly the same way that Steven Spielberg portrays the Nazis in Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah.
They are definitely a threat. They are a menace. They are cruel, but they are also bumbling assholes.
Yeah.
And you want nothing more to see them systematically destroyed in inventive ways. And oh boy, does RRR deliver.
They are as complex as caricatures from the Sunday Funny Papers.
Yes.
And I mean that as a compliment.
They are goons.
I cannot wait. I can't wait to fucking finish the movie because there's nothing I love more than seeing the fucking British monarchy brought down
And
low.
the ending.
Not, I mean,
man.
no offense, guys. I know that you guys feel strongly about your monarchy in
Yes.
some ways, but
British people, if you're listening, we love you, but hey, history's history.
Hosts of Living in the
I mean,
Past podcast. Sorry,
okay,
guys.
so here's the thing: is that this is not necessarily obviously completely historically accurate, but here's
It even says that.
But
it is.
here's the thing: I loved reading this one, the very beginning of an article from The Spectator, which is one of the fucking news outlets in the UK, because they were their
did they not
underwear
like it?
was in a goddamn, all of them.
Incense.
Oh, I love
They're all
that.
angry about
I
it.
love that.
They're pissed. Yeah, and
Good.
I was like, I love it. I'm
Good.
living for it because it's they're really just stirring up this kind of idea that like it wasn't like that.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and
right.
It's like, okay, first of all,
Fuck you,
it
fun
may
police.
it may not be a play-by-play of what happened, but if you are depicted as that type of goon, enough bad shit had to have happened for them to fucking feel like that.
Yeah.
And also, you fucking took over their country. You ran it as, anyways.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that on top of what's probably my favorite action climax of a movie in terms of like a full-blown fight scene, the ending of that movie is so inventive. I have let's put it this way, 2 men become 1. And I will leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
but
fair. That's
it
a way
also
to say
has my favorite original song from any movie this year. We talked about it earlier.
Is it the
but
friendship song?
The Natu
Natu,
dance.
yeah.
Okay.
Not the friendship song, which is also great.
Yeah.
The Natu
That is
Natu
great.
dance number where our 2 leads come together to
they
thoroughly
kicked ass.
embarrass a bunch of British
Oh,
dudes.
you think we can't dance? Oh.
Yeah, no.
Hang tight,
This
folks.
dude's like, hey, you seen the foxtrot? You seen the flamenco?
You know the tango?
You know the tango? And then he's
God.
like, nah, hold up.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
man. And he takes the cymbal and he puts it on the drum. He's like,
Yeah,
and
one
you
of them
just
starts
know it's
playing
coming.
drums.
Section.
It's incredible.
It's so good.
So yeah, RRR is on Netflix. Please watch it.
One more thing I'll add. Sorry, one more thing.
Yeah.
It reminded me so much of one of my favorite fight films of all time, Drunken Master 2, in the sense of it's this huge historical piece, blockbuster action spectacle that is so good, and the British are the bad guys, and in both movies they are portrayed as these bumbling goons, and it's just so refreshing to see a movie that's new to have that. And it's
I love
just
it
so
when
great.
white people look stupid.
It was so fun because they are stupid, and we need to see more of it. It's so. It's
Hey, guys.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Yeah.
I've got one note. Fuck the monarchy. The Commonwealth is just the Empire 2.0.
Absolutely. That is so true. If Hong Kong cinema and Tollywood cinema ever come together for a collaboration, it will create so much energy that we could it'll be the new nuclear fusion. We could power our cities off of it.
I do have a note though. Netflix did not actually release this movie under the original language.
No.
Yes.
It-
Which
yeah.
is
That
really
a bummer.
irritating
Yeah.
because I was like, oh, I think it was set to English when I put it on, so then I changed it to Hindi, and then I realized, oh, Hindi is also not the language, it's Telugu, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope I'm saying that right, and if I'm not, I'm sorry. I apologize. I will learn. I'll be better.
Do we want to do a little more quick discussion of the Fablemans because it's your number 4, my number 3?
Yeah, let's all list off our number 3 really quick, and then we'll go to the Fablemans.
My number 3 is Steven Spielberg's The Fablemans.
Great. My number 3 is Elvis.
My number 3 is X, and we already talked about that.
talked about it. Great.
And we've also already talked about
Yeah,
Elvis
we don't need to
at
touch
length.
that. Yeah, we covered
are we
that
not touching
during
Elvis?
December. No,
I know
because
you
we
want
didn't
to.
do Barbarian, so
It's my number 2. Elvis is my number 2.
okay.
There
So
we
that
go.
way, don't touch it. So there you
Great.
go.
So yeah, let's talk The Fablemans.
Okay. I really enjoyed this movie. I have a little bit of a different experience than Mick because I didn't actually have parents that divorced in high school. They divorced when I was like really young. So like I don't really actually know. Like I think for me, when I watched the movie, what made me sad was I wonder if my parents ever actually liked each other the way that these people liked each other. And I wonder how sad that is to kind of watch how something once was, you know? And to kind of reminisce and remember that at one time we were in love, you know? And it's nobody's fault that that changed, but it is just what it is. And so the movie definitely, it made me cry a couple times. I felt for the mother character, which is also, I had conversations with my mother and my sister about it because they both went to see this movie with my father and he didn't love it. And I think that it's because the woman, the mother, because she essentially decides to leave her husband and to be with another man. And even my mother, when she first saw this movie, she had said that she didn't like that because she felt that she was being selfish. And then, of course, my sister had to, and she couldn't exactly explain how she explained this to my mom, but by the time I talked to my mom about The Fabelmans after I had seen it this week, she said that she understands where she's coming from, and that sometimes you just, despite this man seeming like the perfect husband, he just wasn't right for her, you know? Whereas before, my mom had kind of felt that, you know, maybe this woman was like selfish for leaving her family and her kids. And, you know, her tune changed, you know, which this is another reason why I keep saying I don't let my parents get away with saying shit, you know, because it's not, they learn, you know, you just talk to them about it,
People
you know?
can change.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
not everybody, but some people can. So
I love that. Yeah, the Mitzi decision is not one thing because it is both totally understandable and in some ways supremely selfish. It's the same thing that Sammy does.
yeah, but I also like, so if you remember The Hours,
I do.
I talked about
Yeah.
this with my sister, where it's like, we can never know, it's like, you know, thinking that suicide is selfish. We can really never know the true extent of another person's suffering. So we don't actually get to have that decision on whether or not this act of theirs is selfish or not. Because we don't know whether or not this is life or death for them. Because like in The Hours, the mother at the end, she says, sure, maybe I do regret leaving my kids, but maybe I don't. Because in actuality, this was life or death for me. And I chose to live.
Yeah, and
So-
Mitzi does say something very similar.
Yeah.
You know, that you don't owe anyone your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that there's a line at the beginning where Paul Dano is talking about the train, and he's like,
It's not enough to love it.
You also have to take
put some
care of
work.
it.
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah, I told Alexis that line also really hit me too.
Yeah.
It's really hard because, you know, for Paul Dano's character, he thinks that he's taking care of it. It's just that the way that
Yeah.
he cares for it is not the way that somebody wants to be cared for.
Not going to work for Mitzi.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I think this one part where she says, you know, sometimes I get so mad at your father, and then he just buys me a dress from Saks.
He kills with such kindness.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
like, how do you get mad at somebody like that, you know?
Yeah.
But it, you know, for me, I think this movie is also about what is it when you just like go into a line, falling into line? There's a specific word that I'm looking for.
Towing the line?
No, it's a word. I think it starts with a C.
Complacency?
Complacency. Yeah. I think this movie says a lot about whether or not we allow ourselves to fall into complacency, and what do we do to kind of be true to ourselves, I guess, in that sense. Because, I mean, you have fucking Sammy's character who, you know, obviously he doesn't want to fucking go to school. He's not interested in any of that. He doesn't want the life that his father thinks that he should have. And in the same way, Mitzi also doesn't want the life that her husband thinks that, you know, they should have, you know?
Yeah.
His idea of having a life is not the idea that she has of having a life. And in actuality, I told Mick this, is that, like, I think that maybe if I don't think any mother would ever, like, decide to not have their children. But, you know, sometimes you do look back and you think, maybe I should have done something differently. Maybe I should have pursued my art or something. Maybe I shouldn't have given up all these things to be a mother, you know? Maybe that wasn't what I wanted. Maybe that was just what people expected me to do, you know? And that's what I talked to my mom about, is that it was just a different time, you know? Because, I mean, my mom was born in 1955. So, like, she kind of understands this to a certain extent, you know? She got married so she could have sex.
Yeah.
You
Right,
know,
yeah.
she got
Of that
married at 18
generation.
because she was a good Catholic girl who wanted to, you know, have sex and, you know, be with her person, and realize, hey, man, you know, maybe this wasn't exactly the best idea, because
Yeah.
maybe this isn't going to last.
Yeah.
So my number 3 is The Fabelmans, as I
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
I think, can we table our discussion of The Fabelmans? Have we said what we need to say?
I think I said everything I need to say.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right, and Mick, your number 3?
Was X, and we've talked about it.
And Alexis' number 3.
It was Elvis, and we have a whole episode on it. We don't need to cover it anymore.
I cannot talk. I physically cannot talk about it anymore.
But, okay, I will say that the reason...
Here it is.
Okay, my whole thing about my top 5 is they have to be movies that I will rewatch.
Yep.
So, for me... Obviously, that movie fucking did it for me. So that's all I gotta say. That's it. That's it.
All right. Number 2, Alexis.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Mick.
Elvis.
And mine is Barbarian.
Okay.
Wow.
We have Zack Kreger's Barbarian.
We have an episode.
We have a whole episode on it. It's one of the most surprising films of the year for me, and features maybe my favorite supporting male performance by Mr. Justin Long.
Here, here.
It's my dude. Dude, my friend Maddie has been she's been photoshopping Justin Long's face into memes for 87 days now.
It's hilarious.
Wonderful.
It's literally so day 87 of photoshopping Justin Long till he notices me. And then she even did this 25 slays of Justin, where it was how you have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for Christmas, and you pop out and there's
an advent calendar,
an advent calendar, But it was like a meme one where it's just on there, and every day closer to Christmas she X'd it out, and it was day 7, 25 sleighs.
And so,
and it was his face on Santa in a sleigh.
Yeah, Maddie, I'm a huge fan of your Justin Long series.
Is the meme queen.
Justin Long, notice her.
Yes, please do.
Mick.
Yeah.
Elvis, right?
I loved it, and I will continue to love it. It's one of my favorite movie experiences of the year.
I might just rewatch that when I go home tonight.
Yeah, all right, well, we don't need to talk about that anymore. And we don't need to talk about what I got Alexis for Christmas. Okay, Alexis.
Thank you.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. It took something out of me.
To buy that, to spend your hard-earned money on Elvis.
And you got me the 4K, too.
Yeah.
That's friendship right there, guys.
It really is. Everything Everywhere All at Once also would have made my honorable mentions if we went a little further down the list.
Yeah, it was really fun. I don't know what exactly to say about it. I think I actually really need to rewatch it. But it's it was that movie and Elvis were the only 2 movies that I'd given 4.5 stars to this year up until I saw The Fabelmans and The Whale. So I was I know it's in my top 5. It maybe was going to be my 2 or 3. I couldn't decide between Elvis and Everything Everywhere All at Once, to be honest. I love stories that are about mothers and daughters. I love exploring those relationships. I love the whole multiverse idea. I love the bagel. I loved seeing Stephanie, is it Stephanie Sue?
I believe so, yeah.
Her audition tape for her character. What is the villain's name?
Jobu Tupaki?
Yes. Oh my God. Seeing her fucking audition was incredible.
You've got to send me that.
Oh yeah. If I didn't have not sent that to you, I will absolutely send it to you. It's like the character was already fucking there. And I was of course nobody else was going to be able to fucking play this girl. I think she probably brought something to the table that nobody else probably would have been able to bring to the table. I love that Michelle Yeoh, instead of being the wife character that was going to be secondary, she got to be the main. And I love that, what is his name?
Ki Hoi Kwan.
I love that he got his fucking comeback.
He's wonderful in that
That's
movie.
another great success story of the year.
Okay, just in general, him, Michelle, Stephanie, they all just seem genuinely great people, great actors. I'm really excited that there's actually movies coming out with Asian casts, and just in general we're getting more diversity, and the whole fucking multiverse is so fucking wacky, and the costumes are wacky, but I love it. It's just expansive. For me, there's so much about spectacle.
Yeah, there sure is.
There sure is. You know what? Actually, I think I might know what your one is.
I might know what your one is. Is it not?
No.
It's not.
Oh,
no.
That's what a bummer.
No.
Oh, well,
but,
I know what your one is.
Yeah,
I know what your
my
one
one
is.
has been pretty unwavering for months.
Yeah.
Barbarian's really the only thing that came close to challenging it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Actually, I'll say it later. But yeah, no. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I think you should definitely go see it if you haven't seen it already. I
You
love
probably
the fucking,
did, because massive independent success story as well.
Yeah.
The rock sequence. Like, come on,
So
tell me when somebody's ever put a fucking 2 rocks on a screen and we were all like, "Aw."
Yeah.
Never.
That is throwing down the gauntlet for sure.
I appreciate that that's a movie that wears its references on its sleeve without being annoying about it.
Yes,
Like,
I
you
agree
know,
with you.
Between its riffs on Hong Kar Wai
Yeah.
and The Matrix,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
I think it's a movie made by people who very clearly love movies.
Yes, and again, it's its own thing. It's playing homage, but it stands alone.
Yes.
I also love that none of the characters are unnecessary, and the relationships don't feel like there's anything missing to them, in that we get to flesh it out. Like the main relationship between Evelyn and her husband and her daughter and her father, we get to touch on all of that throughout it. And there's one scene with her husband in a different universe, and his line about maybe in a different universe, essentially, like maybe we would have gotten married and maybe we would have just done something boring,
done laundry in Texas together.
and I think I would have still loved that.
Oh,
and
what a
that was
line.
so fucking heartbreaking. I loved it. I think it's just like, I just love the movie. That's it.
Yeah.
I need to shout out the actor who plays Evelyn's dad, Mr. James Hong.
Oh my god, I love that man!
So good in
He's so
every
great.
single thing,
Yes.
especially in Big Trouble in Little China, which
I've never seen it.
we're gonna
Good
talk
movie.
about it sometime.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Great.
I swear to you, listeners, that it is my civic duty to make sure we discuss as many John Carpenter films on this podcast as possible.
Yes.
I'll make it happen.
All right.
Are we here?
We're here. We're at number 1, folks.
Yeah.
Number 1.
The number 1 movie of the year.
Drum roll.
Okay. All right.
Alexis.
Mine is Women Talking.
I knew it.
Yep.
Mine is Barbarian.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, boy. And mine is Jordan Peele's Nope.
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew it was going to be what it was. Yep.
Nope is it's the only movie this year I've seen 5 times.
The choices that we've all made individually for our number 1 pick
Say so much.
about
Yeah.
each of us.
It's really true. Yeah. Can I? So really quickly,
say a
go-
little more,
go-
please.
yeah, say
It's your
something.
number 1.
Yeah.
it's my number 1. We've talked about it before, but honestly, this was a hard one for me. Because like Top Gun Maverick, Barbarian, I feel like there are other movies that are objectively better than Barbarian that are on my top 10. But here's the thing. Barbarian, I think, because I saw it with both of you, like X.
Yeah.
I saw it with both of you
That
for the
was
first
fun.
time
So fun.
in a theater. And it was, I think, the best movie theater experience I've had all year.
Yeah.
Better than anything else. The twist, the rug pull still works upon second viewing, even if you know when that it's coming. But it was just so impactful. I have never had a movie make my head spin around on its shoulders so quickly. Like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And it's also the movie. The reason why it stayed at my number 1 slot was because out of every other movie on this list, there was only one film that I consistently told other people to watch. Have you seen this? Have you watched it? Please watch it. And Barbarian, for me, was the movie I kept going to people at work and people around going, if you haven't seen this, you should really don't miss it because it's so good. So that's why it's my number 1, my favorite movie of the year.
Shouts out Zack Kreger.
Zack Kreger, you did a great job.
Can't wait to see what you do next.
One of my favorite things about that movie was the fact that I said, I don't know if I'll have that much to say about it, but I'll go ahead and watch it again with you,
Yeah.
Mick. And then that's one of my favorite episodes that we did.
You had so much to say.
I had so much to say about it.
It inspires conversation.
They
It's
even
a
put
great
Jane
film.
Eyre in there, you know?
They sure did.
They
gave
did.
a Period Palooza,
They
Period
did.
Piece Palooza shout out.
There's something
They
for
knew
everyone.
Period Palooza was coming for us. You're like, let's do a little nod.
Thank you, Zach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thing on my number one. Happy with it.
Great. I honestly had no idea what my number one was going to be because I was very much like, I know that Elvis was the movie that I enjoyed watching the most this year because I've seen it an embarrassing amount of times. I really don't really want to say this, but I think I might as well.
Admit it.
But Elvis Presley was my most listened to artist.
On Spotify.
We can't go
I
on
saw
together.
it and I was like, because every year I always post my Spotify like wrapped on my profile, you know, in my story. And this year I was like, I'm not
Not gonna share it.
No,
I know.
I can't. No, I'm actually, I've had soundtracks and like musicals and anime songs as like my top number one songs. I had Bo Burnham as my top person one year, and you know what? None of that was as embarrassing as having Elvis
None of it holds a
Presley.
candle.
That's
and
so funny.
I'm with you, Alexa. It was also my number one pick. Elvis Presley was my number one listened to artist this year because the soundtrack is just so good.
I feel
But
like
anyways.
I'm drowning. I feel like I'm in hell. I am in Elvis. Please help me. But women talking.
The women talking, yeah.
That's why I was gonna say, like, I knew I wanted to see this movie for weeks. I've been wanting to see it for weeks. It's been in so many people's like top movies of the year, kind of like whatever on TikTok, and I keep seeing it. And I saw like the preview, and I was just like, God, I gotta go see that. It looks exactly like something that I'll fucking love, you know? And then Mick saw it first, and I was pissed. There's nothing I hate than a movie that I really, really, really wanted to see, and then Mick sees it before me and gets to tell me how much I need to see the movie, and I'm just like, but I really liked it. To get back to it, I was unwell because I did also cry all throughout the movie, but it was so. I left the theater and I was still like on the edge of like having a panic attack.
Yeah.
Like
Damn.
I was
Same.
like, I'm not okay. I need to get back to my car. I fucking forgot to validate my ticket. And then I was like, nope, I'm just going to pay the Grove prices for
Pay
the
the toll.
fucking parking. Fuck it. I can't go back there. I think I'm still not okay enough to go back there and not maybe lose it. Like, I even wanted to take pictures of the costumes as I exited the theater.
I did.
And then I was like, I don't think I can. I think I'm still so close to maybe crying again that I just need to get back to my car. I need to be somewhere safe. Because when I did get back to my car, I had to sit there and like breathe. And then I started crying again.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it filled me with a well of sadness. But it was because I felt so seen and connected to these women and to their stories because, you know, I grew up with only sisters and mostly just like a matriarch, you know, like my dad was, you know, he's always been there, but, you know, he wasn't really very super active in my life. He had a lot of anxiety, so we didn't get to go out and do a lot of different things, you know, and like he didn't hang out with anybody. So I was very much a matriarchal kind of crew, you know. So seeing all these women together talking about their identity as a collective, as women in this community, and to talk about this, what happened to them, but not to go into like any graphic detail, but how it affected them and how it's affected their ideas about surrounding their faith because they're pacifists. But do we stay and fight, which goes against our beliefs, or do we leave, which also, you know, is painful in itself?
They'll be ostracized.
We have to leave behind people that we love. Essentially, the whole movie is kind of like a conference of these 8 women who have to, of varying ages. You have some women who are grandmothers. You have some that are still considered, children who are growing into women. And then you have women around my age, Mm-hmm. Rooney Mara. Oh my God.
Amazing.
She's so good in this. Claire Foy, good
Foy
in
might
this.
have been my favorite.
Oh my God. I can't remember what her name is, but I've seen her in a bunch of other things. I think she was
the third main woman, the middle-aged, or not middle-aged.
Sheila McCarthy.
Yeah.
Sheila McCarthy. I love her so much.
It's really interesting to hear you guys talk about this movie because I know basically nothing about it. Like,
Keep it that way.
I am getting vague senses of what it's dealing with.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited. I will definitely be checking it out.
If I may, I wrote in my review, what I loved about this movie so much was the kaleidoscope of feminine perspectives on this single issue.
Yeah.
And each person was so truthful. Everyone is so right. Everyone is so wrong. I mean, it's just like it explores this very complex issue from every angle, and it does every angle justice because I think the film understands, Sarah Polley, the director, understands this issue from every angle and knows what she's talking about. And it was just so powerful. I mean, even when I saw it with my parents, and my dad was like crying after the movie, talking about how men are just such monsters. And that's going someplace for him because he doesn't usually talk that way.
For me, I just thought that the movie understood, I mean, obviously it's a female director, it's a mostly all-female cast. It just understood the complexities of female identity and how experiences inform that identity and our perception of our identity. And I love the extra layer of this. They kind of remind me of Amish, honestly.
They're Mennonites.
They're Mennonites?
Yeah.
Okay. So...
I lived near Mennonites in Coburg.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it's like... So it's not only just like your identity as an individual female identifying person, but it's your identity as a collective community who all work together, live together, love together, and raise children together, And so for me, because I have sisters who have, multiple children, I understand exactly, maybe not exactly, but through watching them raise their children and go through a lot of complex issues themselves, I understand how viscerally you want to protect your children. And that's something that the movie explores is how do we protect what we love while still and rationalize that with our faith, essentially. Because because in their faith, it's like you're supposed to forgive. Mm-hmm. How do you forgive and move on from what has happened? Because maybe we shouldn't. Because maybe we need to protect, more than adhere to that. Maybe that is going to be our form of forgiveness, It's just, it really explored it well. It really showed me how much women can hold inside of themselves and still move on, just like the pain, and in many ways we're always just expected to move on, because it's so commonplace. Violence against female identifying bodies is so commonplace, that it's like, it's so relatable because the violence is just so in our world.
I loved what you wrote in your review about basically how women are given accolades for their ability to endure such pains, and yet because of that, those accolades of you guys can endure so much that, well, take it away.
I said the capacity for women to hold space for unspeakable pain, compassion, and love has always baffled me. At every turn, there is someone to congratulate us for our strength, for our capacity to go on. We need no acknowledgement of this fact. We need action for change, because on the back of those statements are the expectation that we will go on despite our collective suffering.
Yeah.
That's fucking powerful.
Yeah,
It's a powerful movie.
It's a must see. It is required viewing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I should have let Alexis go last.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My last thing that I kind of said in my review was that it is the truth that in the world in which women are not safe, a world in which women are cause pain, is a world in which no one can truly thrive, that we are tied together in all of it, our shortcomings as a society and its consequences. In a world where people are allowed to hold power over others is a world where pain will surely follow us all.
Yeah.
So that
Very well written.
that is how I felt about it. That movie fucking messy and unfuckable for hours.
And where can we find that review?
That review is on Letterboxd right now. I actually think that I might do a extensive one on my blog, but I have to reopen my blog, so
Sweet.
yay.
Well, my favorite movie of the year, and it has been for a while,
Yeah.
is Jordan Peele's Nope. It feels fun to be the one person sticking up for Nope as the best movie of the year, because I'm the one guy who didn't work on it here.
Yeah.
I went to the cast and crew screening with Alexis. I was
did.
her +1. And I was completely blown away by this movie. I think Jordan Peele, who has already made 2 very good horror movies, has made not only my favorite movie of last year, but probably my favorite movie so far of the 2020s. It is an absolute, as the movie tells you, spectacle.
Yeah.
But it is an interrogation of all that implies. How spectacle can be taken away from certain communities, particularly the black community. How reclaiming that spectacle can both do... Reclaiming a horrifying spectacle can do irrevocable harm to you, as explored through Steven Yeun's character and the storyline with Gordy and his attempts to tame Jean Jacket, who is my favorite antagonist of the year. God, she's cool.
She's
but
cool, she's pissed.
It also explores how weaponizing that spectacle and taking it back for yourself can be used as a defense for those communities. And how sometimes the best thing you can do is look away.
Yeah.
In a world where we are... horrifying shit is thrown at you 24/7 and packaged as entertainment, sometimes the best thing to do is not engage.
Yeah.
I think that it is such a full exploration of the human desire to create spectacle and to be seen and to see. I found it incredibly profound, but I also found it to be the most entertaining big screen experience of the year. I'm shocked when Mick says that the ending falls apart, because the ending is my favorite climax of any movie in years.
Wow.
You are trying to... The end of the movie, to spoil it, is about trying to capture a giant UFO, which is not a ship. It is an animal, which is such a clean, like, small twist on it that does so much.
It's a flying purple people eater.
Yes. Oh my god, that scene's so fucking good. But the moment where OJ draws Jean Jacket out, riding a horse like the black jockey, and Michael Abel's score, which is hands down my favorite score of the year, kicks in, and you just hear this fucking cowboy score, and you watch all of these different classic staples of Hollywood be remixed by a man who is swiftly becoming a master of his genre. It's the most thrilling thing I have seen in a movie in years.
Wow.
I was moved. I laughed. I honestly had teared up at that movie just by the sheer craft on display. I think it's my favorite ensemble of the year. I think Keke Palmer is going to be
amazing.
Everywhere now.
I personally, I wish that I had given this an honorable mention shout out, because it is one of my favorite ensembles of the entire year. I love Keke Palmer. I love
Angel.
Brandon Perea.
He was so good.
I love that his audition changed the character.
Yeah.
Because he went in for this audition, and Jordan Peele kind of played him a little bit, and he was like, yeah, I just, I don't know, I just, the way that you've done this character, it's so different from what's in the script. And the guy was like thinking like, oh shit, I don't have this part, and he was like, no, I'm gonna rewrite the script.
Yeah, and you can see it come together for him. He's like, oh my god,
like really?
Yeah,
that's
real?
awesome.
And he's like, yeah, no, I love it. I'm gonna rewrite it.
that's awesome.
But yeah, for me, Nope is unquestionably the movie of the year, although Barbarian is a close second, and I love that the two guys who directed those movies are friends.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
And both movies feature a wonderful scene where somebody sees some of the most fucked up shit you can and just goes, nope.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of my things that I talked about in my review of Nope when I wrote it last year, was that, holy shit, within the first 20 minutes, this movie had me saying, nope, I'm out.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what he wanted. But for me, because I did this like extensive review on Nope, one of my favorite quotes that I pulled from Jordan Peele was how he said that he wanted to represent Black joy and to represent Black adventure and Black aspiration and Black excellence in it as well, and human nature overcoming its obstacles. And I think he absolutely did that. This movie was so fucking fun. It was probably the best blockbuster of the summer.
I fully agree.
Because while I did love Top Gun Maverick, I think that Nope is the better blockbuster. Yeah.
I also want to shout out that we haven't even discussed how the film deals with not just exploitation of human beings in the name of spectacle, but exploitation of animals.
I have a note for this.
Yeah.
And Jordan Peele's like, oh my god, he uses animals in such interesting ways in all three of his movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true with the rabbits of
the
of
rabbits
Us.
and Us and the deer and Get Out.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
I love it.
Yeah.
Can I read an excerpt from my fucking
Go for it,
review?
Please, and then we should probably wrap things up because I don't
Okay.
even want to tell you guys
Great.
how long we've been recording.
Oh shit.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Listeners, we're sorry.
First of all,
boy.
my
get a
other
supersized
my
episode.
other
You're
side
welcome.
note is that they shot this film day for night.
Yep.
And it just looks so fucking good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. There's just like there's so much that you can feel that's lurking in the dark that like it just works so fucking well.
Shouts out Hoyta.
Shouts out Hoyta, mixed boy.
Hey.
So I said that in Peele's Nope, we see a parallel between the bloodshed of the creature and the bloodshed of Gordon. They were both living beings exploited for the purpose of spectacle. In both a TV and a sideshow, we are invited to the spectacle. We greedily consume these animals for entertainment and are instead consumed by them. People in society cannot allow themselves to have the script flipped and be consumed by those who are supposed to entertain them, and so these creatures have not served their purpose, so they must be annihilated.
Wow.
Gordy did nothing wrong.
Hey man, Gordy was a fucking animal. He didn't
Gordy
have
was
to-
a monkey.
Yeah.
He wasn't
Yeah.
supposed to be there. He
Yeah.
was literally just monkeying around.
That shot. Oh boy, love that. That shot where Gordy, after destroying the cast, submits to Jupe. I love that cut where
Yeah.
the fist comes in and they almost fist bump,
Yeah.
and then it cuts to Stephen Yeun looking like he's just looking off into the distance with this look of pride, which is fascinating for a character, and it says so much about him, and it's one of my favorite shots of the movie.
I think for him, he felt like he missed out on this connection, that he was intrinsically actually capable of connecting to this animal on a level that ends up being his downfall.
I think it gives him a god complex. I think it makes him think that he can control, that he has this sort of power with controlling something like that, which is.
But
his
it's also
downfall.
the same thing as the Fablemans, where you take your trauma and you turn it into spectacle to control it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's very much the same thing, actually.
I love movies about movies.
Hey.
And Nope
What a surprise!
was, in my opinion, the best one.
Wow.
So what I'd like to do,
Yeah.
if it's okay,
Go for
is
it.
for us to run through our top 10 list, just say what it is real
Okay.
quick,
Sure.
10 to 1, and then I have a movie that I would like to discuss next week.
Okay, great.
Okay. Cool.
Because I think we should each get to pick one movie.
From our top 10.
Well, just from last year. It doesn't have to be in your top 10.
Okay.
Okay.
Alexis, do you want to rattle
sure.
off
I've been rattling it first. All right. So starting from number 10, we got Do Revenge, Babylon, All Quiet on the Western Front, X, The Whale, Barbarian, The Fabelmans, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and lastly, but surely not least, Women Talking.
Bravo. Starting at 10, Banshees of Inisherin, Babylon, The Whale, Pearl, The Fabelmans, Top Gun Maverick, Women Talking, X, Elvis, and Barbarian.
And starting from number 10, Mad God, Crimes of the Future, X, The Banshees of Inisherin, Tar, We're All Going to the World's Fair, RRR, The Fabelmans, Barbarian, and Nope. And when we come back next week, I would like to discuss Jane Schoenbrun's We're All Going to the World's Fair, because I think it's a movie that more people need to see. Last I checked, it's on HBO Max, and I think there's a lot to talk about there.
Great. Yeah, I'm down because I really want to see that.
All right, this is perfect because then are we going to list out what we want to do for the rest of the month?
Or should we? Ooh, good question. Should we wait?
Do we want to wait, or?
I mean,
do you have your pick?
I'm fine. If you have your pick, you could say it.
No, Mick, do you not have your pick? Because if you don't, then I'm going to wait.
Okay, I don't have a pick
Okay,
yet.
then I'm going to wait and just double check that this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, if you guys would like to follow us on social media, we're on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at FilmMajorsPod.
If you guys have made it all the way to the end of this goddamn episode,
bravo.
First of all, I fucking love you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. We know you're still here.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you, Allison. We love you.
And on that note, if you want to send us an email, our email is filmmajorspod@gmail.com. We also have a brief email from my father that we can address on the next episode.
Oh, really?
Sorry, Dad. We don't have time today.
I love it.
But yeah, Happy New Year, everybody. And
Hey, 2023, this is going to be our year.
Great. Well, folks, we'll see you at the movies.